This can be addictive. Welcome back once again to another episode of Lancescurv. I'm going to put a little time until we have some more people come in. We're just getting started. And for those who might hear me, let me know in the chat room if you can hear me loud and clear. Loud and clear. I'll give it a few. Renee Green, you are the first one in the chat room. Thank you very much for being here. I was thinking about this particular program all day long, and it's a little different because the title is Hard-Earned Wisdom, 25 Laws to Transform Your Life. I wanted to go there today. I wanted to just kind of brush up myself on things that I should be thinking about. And I said, you know what? Let me just share it with everybody else, and we'll talk about it. Yesterday's show was really nice for me. I got a chance to share some perspectives. It was a show that was titled in a way that many people thought it would be something else. And I'm glad that folks had a chance to hear my perspective. Not that my perspective is the only perspective or the most important in the world, but we all want to have a chance to speak on certain things. And that being said, there'll be some guests coming on in the future, a diverse set of guests. And I want to keep it that way, because we evolve, we get better. Sweet D in the house, checking in. Yes, I noticed since I'm doing stuff on a regular time, you're able to come in, because before, when everything was in a state of flux and so much work going on here, and I said, okay, let me just squeeze a show in. It was never scheduled, so nobody's gonna know. And so when you caught, okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. If it sounds a little low, a little high, a little muffled, just in the chat room, let me know. And when I get on my flow, oftentimes I kind of just get in my own zone like I did last night. And that was good and that's necessary, So anyway, again, if power blinks out for like a second or 10 minutes, I will be back on within 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So if you're here and it happens, just let everybody know, don't leave, Lance will be back. I just have to come through my phone, which I am charging right now at 54%. Okay. So yeah, I wrote some things down. I wrote some of these laws down, and I'm just going to freestyle it after I read my bulleted points like I always do. Kofi, hi, how are you? Good to see you back. Yes, I'm well. Gifty's here. Oh, let me hold back a little bit and wait for all the superstars to come on in. But yes, we grow, we evolve, and I would not say we change. Trees don't change. When you go back to an old neighborhood or near your old school and you see the same tree that you used to climb or used to eat lunch under, and you say, man, it doesn't even look like the same tree. But if you look hard enough, you'll realize it is the same, because you can still see the branches that you knew on the tree, but now it has many more branches and it's bigger now. So that's how we evolve. We don't change, we evolve, and we minimize sometimes certain traits that we have. We shrink it, we minimize it sometimes if it's no good for us, no good for a journey, no good. It could be a burden of some toxic thing that we have, and we could just diminish it. But when people see us, they see the same old person. You know what I mean? The high school bully may be the nicest guy in the world after 10 years, and you see him in the supermarket and he terrorized everybody. And you're like, wow, he's quite a gentleman. And when you first laid eyes on him, it's like, uh-oh, here comes trouble, because that's what you knew of him. And they take time to evolve, and we can do that. On the same token, we can reverse and go the other way, where we have good traits and good attributes, and all of a sudden, maybe we don't seek to develop bad habits or bad attributes, but it happens. And some people will see you later on and say, what the heck happened? You know what I mean? So that's what it's all about. Tracy J, oh, I'm so sorry I overlooked you, but I can never overlook you though, right? Yeah. So yeah, this is the time I know you're leaving the plantation. Let me just read a little bit, and we're going to go down the list. And I'm going to just bounce off of what we say in the chat room, and we're going to enjoy this exchange. I had to go into a crowd today, and I enjoyed myself briefly. I had to pick up some things that I needed for the house. And quite a adventure, I would say. I didn't have time to videotape like I thought I would, but I did 2 shorts over on TikTok. You got to check it out. And I'll be doing things there, and I still will be bringing things over to YouTube. But I'm not going to put everything everywhere. It won't be sweet to dig. Like, let me go to Instagram. Okay, same thing. Let me go to YouTube. Same thing. Let me go to TikTok. Oh, the same thing. So I'm going to put a lot of the same things everywhere, but I'm going to leave some nuggets for you to find and say, hey, I didn't see that. That's the way you got to do it. In life, every experience we go through, whether it's good or bad, is an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Often, it is the uncomfortable, painful experiences that teach us the greatest lessons, pushing us to evolve and transform as individuals. While many believe that their starting point in life defines their future, the truth is that it is not where we begin that matters, but the direction we choose to take and the decisions that we make along the way. Ultimately, our lives are shaped by the choices we make, choices that determine the trajectory of our journey and eventually where we end up. Far too often, people see themselves as victims of circumstance, believing they have no control over their destiny. However, the reality is that we hold far more power over our lives than we realize. There are certain universal laws that govern our existence, laws that apply to everyone, regardless of race, culture, nationality, or lifestyle. These laws are unavoidable, and while we may choose to ignore them, doing so only hinders our growth and progress. In this discussion tonight, I'm going to present 25 philosophical laws that are undeniable and fundamental to the human experience. These laws, when understood and followed, have the potential to radically transform the quality of life we experience. They are not taught in schools, and yet they are essential to navigate the often treacherous waters of life. By embracing these laws, we can empower ourselves to create the future we desire, regardless of the challenges we have faced. Number 1, the law of cause and effect. Every action has a consequence, and nothing happens by chance. What you put into the world will return to you, whether in the form of success, failure, joy, or pain. You are the architect of your own reality. And I'm glad this was number 1, because like I said in the former paragraph, a lot of us feel we don't have a choice. A lot of us feel we have no control. And I'm not saying control over every single narrative, but we can get back what we put out there. And see, what people fail to realize is that it's not going to always come back in the same form. To me, my opinion also is that it could also be residual a little bit at a time, or even delayed to the point that after we transition, we will still get back the good or the bad. It's not relegated to this lifetime. And the reason why I say this is because so many people say, well, look at that person over there. He did so much bad stuff to get where he is, and he's so successful, and he's enjoying life. And the day that he passes away, it's like he went straight through and was so successful. Now, we may not know the torment that that person had to endure behind closed doors, but let's say it wasn't there. You're still going to have to pay. You're not getting away because we changed vehicles, because we're out of our bodies. You see what I mean? So many of us just think what we see here on this level is it. And they will sometimes be successful, whatever they deem success to be. And they may seem to have gotten over. And some of us who are good people may be struggling. And like, no matter what I do, it just, these are funny things we think about. So people would say cause and effect, Lance. I've been putting good stuff out into the universe the whole way, and nothing's come back to me. Again, it may not come back in that form. And it may not be tit for tat. And it may not be something you see all the way at this particular level. Like I said before, many of us don't realize our mission until later on. Some of us know our mission early on, and in that mission is when we get our blessing, right? But hold true to what you are and what you feel in here on the inside. Number two, the law of perception. Reality is shaped by how you perceive the world. Your mindset determines whether you see obstacles or opportunities. Changing your perception can alter your entire experience of life. Let me tell you something. It's a funny little story that happened maybe about, let me see what time it is. It happened over 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago. I was coming in and I had my key out. I had some bags that I had, put my stuff in to carry back home. And so, I have the wall up now. So I have this big iron metal driveway gate. And then next to it, I have, the door. So it's heavy duty. And so I put my bags down because the actual lock is close to the post, the concrete post. So my big bundle of keys kind of, rubs the wall. So I had to really separate the key to open it up. I'm standing there, right? So click and click 2 times. Then I pull it back another time, not a click, but I open up the handle and voila, the door opens, right? So all of a sudden, something kind of bit me light on my toe. Now, I have shoes here, but I always love to wear Crocs. I just love the freedom of a t-shirt and shorts and Crocs, not a uniform that I have to wear every day or a suit and tie like back in the days. I'm just free. Then all of a sudden on my ankle, there was another bite, but it was a little more intense. Then, I'm going to say it as it is, on the right side of my derriere, there was another bite. Then on the inside of my left leg, I'm like, hey, what's going on here? I grabbed my bags, I closed the door, and I locked it. I'm outside by the gate now, and I put the latches there, and I ran down. And as soon as I ran down to the front door of the house, I was being bit everywhere. Do you know what happened? I stood in the way of a row of ants that were minding their business, and I must have stepped on some and killed some of them. And they all crawled up on my leg, and they all started biting me on command. Now, I have 2 front doors, one on one side, one on the other. And that door I call it's a more private door, and the wall is up and everything. I tried to get the key to put it in the door. I was getting bit from left to right. Now, this quick, there was an ant on top of my head trying to bite me, and I smacked it. I didn't have time to go inside the door and bring the groceries in. I just took my clothes off outside. Luckily for me, there was some mosquito repellent. It's not ant repellent, but I know there had to be something in there that would stop the ants from biting me. So I squeezed a lot into my hand, butt naked at the front door, rubbed it all over my legs and other parts I can't mention because I didn't want that to get bitten. So I was all right. But now still, I said, it's got to be in my clothes. I got to leave my clothes out here. And there was some still on my shoes trying to bite me down in my foot where I didn't put the lotion. Wow. Ain't that something? So look, they're nothing but ants. I could say, this is the devil. This is Satan just trying to stop me from going on inside and eating the meal that I purchased at the restaurant. No, perception. I stepped in their world. I can't be mad at them. If somebody stepped into your world and ruined your party or ruined your movement or did something to your loved ones, you are going to attack. I didn't do this on purpose, but they attacked me, rightfully so. So because of the law of perception and me looking beyond my own selfish existence, I can see better. And I understood why, and I wasn't mad. Now, what took me by surprise, when I came inside, I left the clothes outside. I came inside all natural. I put the bag down and I stood there for a second. And I'm looking in the mirror to make sure visibly there were no ants on me that would have a delayed command to bite. So I gave myself the clearance. I was okay. And I looked over by the bed. A big spider. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Now, what if I just went and laid down in the bed? It was a big spider, too. It was a big spider. I wasn't expecting to see that. But then perception says your house is under construction. There will be things that find their way inside. When it's done, it's going to be airtight. You know? So move accordingly. And the bottom line, this is the country. So what am I going to expect? You know, fast food restaurants and drive-thrus and all-night Walmarts and whatever. No, this is the country. Country is as country does. This is what I wanted. This is what I loved. And this is what you have to take along with it. And a lot of us don't understand that. Life is not picture perfect, but it makes the daily routine amusing. And I enjoy the unexpected things. And it helps me to shift my perception. Mad Guns Forever. Riri, welcome on in. Yes, move accordingly. That's right. Wow, I'm glad we all are here. Let me move on to the next one. The law of patience. Growth takes time, and the greatest achievements are often the result of persistence and endurance. Rushing through life will only cause you to miss valuable lessons along the way. Yeah, and there's some consequences when you rush through life and don't learn the lesson. And what about those of us who rush through life, never learn the lesson, and have to repeat the consequences all over again? And this has nothing to do with being older in a chronological sense, because there's sometimes I wanted to rush with certain things from all over my life, just from the beginning to now. And in certain areas, I learned patience even more so. So even now, I've learned before that I didn't have the joy of the process when I rush through things. So I've learned that sometimes when things seem to be going slow, it's to teach you to enjoy it. Now, for me, I'm anxious to get certain things done in my life, but I know that when they're done, this will be the past, and I'll reflect back on it in a way where I'm reminiscent. It might even be anticlimactic when things are completely done. There's always a challenge for me to surmount. There's always something for me to reach for. And that's what life is all about. I remember when I won that ultimate bodybuilding trophy and the other 4 body part trophies and the best poser and the most muscular. And I had all the cameras on me and I was in magazines and signing autographs and stuff like that. Guess what? A few days after that wore off, I won't say I was depressed, but it was like a letdown. And I learned a valuable lesson then. What was the lesson? To always keep something in front of you to reach for. And I don't mean 10 things necessarily, but something major. It doesn't have to be big to the world. It could be something small to the world, but major to you, another goal to keep you reaching. So for me now, when I had the letdown of being delayed with the old channel, which, like I said, when certain things that I ordered come here and I'll be able to upload and re-upload things en masse, then what, right? I'll be right back where I was, but now my goal is to make things more of a quality and better. And if quantity comes, which I know it will, because that comes with consistency. See? So to have patience, to see everything develop, to enjoy the joy of the process, that's more of it to me, every single thing. A friend of mine told me one time, him and his wife, God rest her soul, they did very well in life, extremely well. And I have a joke with him, and I'm not really joking. I said, if I've known anybody to do every different thing right, it had to be your wife and yourself. the moves that you made, how you raised your family. I mean, nobody's perfect. We know that. And there are probably things we don't know, but I know it's nothing major, right? You know what he told me? He's like, for all that we have accomplished, for all that we have accrued, and they weren't materialistic people. No, not by a long shot. They were spiritual first. They were, and we can technically say in the beginning they called themselves Christians, but they moved out of the church and they followed the laws outside of it even more. I can't say strict, but they were really about living that life. They weren't with the circus and the hocus pocus and the celebrity worship of a pastor and that whole hierarchy. And they really did it. It was almost like their life was a spiritual boot camp. And they never looked down on anybody. They never felt they were above anybody. They just did everything right. And you know what he told me? He said, for all that we've gained and accrued and been blessed with, healthy children that are successful and now grandchildren, the sweetest part was back in the day when we didn't have much. The sweetest part was back in the day when my wife, we just got married. And we had a plan to, get our own premises and stuff. But for a couple of months there, we were living in my mother's basement. We didn't have much. We were working toward things, and that helped us out a lot. But it was even then when we were dreaming of life ahead of us, when we were looking forward to working hard, having discipline, tightening up the belt, and making things manifest, as we would lay in the bed next to each other and stare up at the ceiling and dream. He told me that was pretty much one of the sweetest times of their life, not to diminish the other points in their life. And it made me think about that. I was like, wow. Because when you're dreaming and fantasizing, anything can be possible. It's almost when you reach the goal, it's like, man, let me reach a little higher. Let me go higher. And you never know how you find yourself so further along and you didn't realize it. Back when I was 13 years old, there was a buddy of mine who lived across the street in the neighborhood. I can mention his name. Craig Bastian is his name. And his brother, Lucius, went on to be an actor who's been in several Tyler Perry movies and sitcoms, and he does it as he likes it now, the brother. He's into real estate and other things. I want to get him back on here and do a little interview with him. But his older brother, Craig, would come over, and my father had a barbell and some weights. And so Craig started picking it up and curling it. When you're a young kid, the first thing you want to do is develop your bicep, your muscle, because people say, oh, show a muscle, not realizing you have the whole total body to work on. So, that's when you're young, you're a little narrow-minded. So he started curling, and looking back, he had poor form. He said, Lance, look, I did 35 curls with that weight, which wasn't that much at all, right? He said, I bet you can't beat me. And so I said, I'll beat you, no problem. I think I did 38, 39 or something like that. Then he did it and tried to do more, but by the time his arms were aching, the numbers diminished. Little did I know that particular time in my basement, leaning up against one of the posts, up in New York, the weight-bearing posts that hold up the whole house, and I was leaning back on that and curling. Little did I know that would begin my journey to become a competitive bodybuilder. I didn't know. It started out with me in the basement. Craig came over one time, and we started doing that, and I said, man, my arms feel a certain way. So we did that before, a couple of days after, a couple of days, later on. But I was curious as to how I felt and how strong I felt in a few days, and that pump. And so now I started to do other odd exercises. My father started to show me the proper way of training. I started to get magazines. I started reading those. I got into playing around with boxing with my friends, but I stayed with the bodybuilding. And then boom, it evolved into something. The law of patience, not even knowing where you're going, but just be patient. So even with me and my physical development, Of course, you want to get it all overnight. You're young, you're full of testosterone. You want to have all the muscles. You want to look like the older guys, the big guys. But you have to have patience. And I'm glad I did it, you know? And that's just one aspect of my life. Even, messing around on AOL. I didn't know I was going to eventually get a website and put artwork up and write every day and do all these things every day. And all these decades later, doing this now, this didn't even exist to be at home to do something like this. So I enjoy the process now. 5 years from now, there'll be something new offered because now you can pick up your phone and do a live stream. You couldn't do that back in the day. You couldn't do that, So there'll be new things that you can take the creativity that you have. Just have patience. You're writing a book. Have patience. You're building a house. Have patience. Enjoy the process. You see? That's what it is. Wow. Gifty, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so flattered, but like I said, it comes from the heart. Let me see who I can welcome here. Zanya. Yes, Zanya E. Diamond. Welcome on in. Wow. Let me amplify some of these comments. Move accordingly, approach with caution all the time. Most definitely. Growth takes time, and time is all it takes. And whatever it means, only time tells, and that's true. Exactly. I'm in sync with everything you're saying. Such conversations that create tentacles of the unexpected. Oh, I love the way you speak. Oh, wow. Yet meaningful and worth the while. Thanks for your gift of now. And thanks for sharing your gift of now, being here with all of us and everybody else who's sharing their gift of now. This is the future because this is what we have now. While we will project into the future, it's now that is the future. So that if we do now what we're supposed to do, the future takes care of itself. But it doesn't mean that we can't plan a certain type of framework, because if I was one who made movies, I just can't go on the set and say, oh, let's just ad-lib everything. No, there has to be a script. Oftentimes there has to be storyboards and so many different things in place. You have to plan to get your permits to block off a certain street if you're going to shoot there. There's so much that goes into that craft, just like any other endeavor, any other business, any other hobby. But what you do now adds up. So this is why I'm always patient, because when I do my artwork and I have my pen and I'm shading something in, and it's like, man, you're taking your time. Yes. Because long after I'm done with this sketch, you'll see the detail and energy that I put into it. And way back in 2001, let me clear my throat, y'all. There's a lot of dust that wasn't here and still is here, that next week the guys are going to come back and do a different phase of things. So I'm like, I am not sweeping up until and doing all this stuff until they are done. And when they're done, it'll take about 2 weeks for them to do what they do. Even though I would leave the premises and go outside, that dust. So what was I about to say? Okay. There was one more thing I was going to say. It slipped my mind, but I know it'll come back. Let me just go on to the next law. The law of responsibility. You are responsible for your own life. Blaming others or external circumstances for your problems will only keep you stuck. Take ownership of your choices and actions. Now, this is a very, very sensitive thing I'm going to say, and I hope people don't misunderstand me. But as you will know, as a Black man growing up in America, melanated man, American, African American, copper colored, whatever, right? Every few years, the categories and names change. I had to deal with a lot of racism. I mean, from young. I wrote an article on my blog many years ago, that's Lancescurv.com, about a gentleman named Jim Pugh. Jim Pugh, P-U-G-H. I'll never forget him. Well, like I always say, back in 1974 and 1975, when I was 11 and 12 years old, this was 1975. And I was up in a camp called Camp Treetops, which all year round was called the North Country School. You can Google it. And my father, who had his own business, had a lot of affluent clients. And somehow, some way, my father could not afford that. And we weren't poor, we weren't rich, we were middle class. I had all my needs and I had a whole lot of my wants. I wasn't suffering. But that particular camp for 8 weeks, I never found out what it cost, but it was really the highly affluent that could afford to go there. Michael Rockefeller was there. We're the same age, give or take a year. I think we're the same, but he's deceased now. There were other people from the corporate world and different business owners, different politicians' children, and just, philanthropists and stuff. Really, there's one name I remember, Brian Bronfman. He was in the lean-to with me, and I'll explain all of that, right? It was a pretty penny. And needless to say, there were some Black people there, but I think it was only 2 or 3 others. And one who didn't even want to be identified. But it was all Caucasian, the top 5 percentile. Okay. So I wasn't an inner city kid who was suffering. I had some brains also. And I lived well also in that particular category. So I didn't look at it that way, but I was exposed to children who had a whole different way of thinking. And it was advantageous to my game, meaning that it expanded me. Because my buddies from around the neighborhood, they weren't thinking the way that these kids were. A little more expanded because their parents had the money to expose them to many things. So they weren't showing off. So there might have been, it's so many acres. If people in the future want to Google it and see the layout, but it wasn't some camp where, it's this little house on the corner over there, or this little half a park, and you go there every day and come out. No, this was up near Canada, and we were staying for 8 weeks, which was an eternity at 11 years old and 12 years old. And we would write letters and send them out to our folks every week. There were no phone calls unless it was an emergency. And this wasn't out, it was out in the wild, but they had modern facilities, the infirmary, several main buildings, gymnasiums. They had the huge kitchen. We ate 3 meals a day. I mean, the meals were phenomenal. It wasn't any junk. Put it this way. They had, and I'm saying all this to say a certain thing, and maybe in a few minutes, if my bladder keeps talking to me, I'm going to have to pay the water bill. I drank a lot today, but we're going to carry on. There was a barn, and you could imagine the size of the barn. The barn had 45 horses in it. And we had to walk several miles on the campsite to get to the barn, and we had to rotate chores. There were maybe, I can't really remember, I would say about 250 children who were there. And it was 11 and 12 years old. It was like 14, 15, 16, 17. It was just those 2 age groups. And we would participate in activities, all of us together, but we had to have, what did they call it? In the morning, early in the morning, we'd wake up, the crack of dawn, and we'd get ourselves together, wash up. We had counselors there, for supervision. So we had lean-tos. Lean-tos were wooden structures set up, wood, but it was raised up off of the ground about maybe 2 feet, had a floor, and it was canvas over it that you would tie down, and it had 4 bunks in it, and you slept under a mosquito net. Now, up near Canada is freezing in the wintertime, but for a short time in the summer, it was just as hot as anywhere else. So there were 4 bunkmates together. I'm one guy, and there were 3 others. Remember, one name was Bundy. The other one's name was Brian Bronfman. I didn't know his family were billionaires. Maybe they were millionaires at the time, but they're billionaires now, and he's a philanthropist, right? They give money away for certain causes. So they didn't know any of this. They were just kids, but because of their parents, the various parents, which I'm quite sure some of them were racist, and I know that for a fact. I'll tell you a little funny story. I guess I was kicking the Illuminati's behind from a young age, right? They put my name on a list. We're going to torment him for the rest of his life. But anyway, we're talking, and we at nighttime before we fall asleep. When you fall asleep, you fall asleep. You're out, because early it was like a little meeting we'd all have, and hundreds of kids around, and they would have different activities. I mean, they might have 15 to 20 different activities, whether it was hiking a mountain several miles away, right? And there were mountains on the property of the actual camp. So this was not your usual camp. It was almost like it's something that most children would not experience at that age on that level, especially from New York City as a middle-class child, which I wasn't middle class. My mind was expanded. I was already exposed to so much. So I fit right in. But I remember some of them, and I'm going to go on with the laws, but you know how I do. I just want to kind of chat a little bit. But they were thinking so different. And their realities weren't even a big thing to them. And I picked up on that because I was very perceptive as a child and had a lot of discernment. So they were all talking, and I'm talking with them. They didn't treat me any different because their hearts hadn't got hardened yet to the status of what, color dictates in the world, right? Maybe they never got like that. I don't know, but it was all pure. So I remember one of them speaking about their summer home in Italy and how the father has a house in Texas, and he goes down there to do business. And they also have, New York. There was a lot of New Yorkers there, right? But it wasn't just bona fide New York. They may have had premises there, but they were all over the world, a lot of them. And they were speaking this way. They were speaking about stock at that age. They were speaking about investments, their parents' investments, and what they hope to invest in when they get older, and what's a good investment. Really and truly, 11 and 12-year-olds, right? So I didn't know as much at that particular time, so I learned to keep silent, but I picked up quick, and I got into the discussion and asked lots of questions. So that really expanded me. So you had all of these lean-tos, a certain distance, not next to each other. They weren't, because this was it had its own lake. It's several miles and miles of campgrounds. And each four individuals in a lean-to had one counselor that was assigned to them. So you just don't go and ask anybody for help. You go to your counselor, who was always nearby, and you let him know what activities you were going on. And there were other counselors who, were over you. So in the Adirondack Mountains, there are 49 mountains that are above a mile high, right? And the glaciers help to carve out a lot of the mountain range that's there. I remember there's a mountain called Goethals, and it was part of a mountain range, but on one side, you can walk up. It was steep, but on the other side, it was cable running down the whole thing, not steep like a 90-degree angle, but it was like a little more than 45. But if it rained and you're coming down that side of the mountain, it was slick rock that was carved out by glaciers. So if you were on another mountain looking at Goethals Mountain from the inside, you would see how these glaciers ripped through the rock and carved it out so smooth. So you could only be called a 49er when you hiked all 49 mountains. So there are people who live up there, right? And I'm just giving you shooting a little breeze between the laws, right? So there are people who live there like, I'm a 49er. I guess I was an 11er because I hiked 11 of the mountains in the Adirondacks that were part of the 49. And I did that in a short period of time because every time they offered a trip to walk out and go up, and sometimes we'd have to, get on a vehicle or they have a bus if there was enough people. and we go to Miles and we walk up, which the tallest one in New York State is called Mount Marcy. You can Google that, and unless the mountain sunk, right? But I can't even remember all that. I know Algonquin, I know Goethals, I know. I have to look at the list, and I'll remember. As soon as I see it, I'll remember it. But to get back to the story, I got along with everybody, right? Except Michael Rockefeller. Something was wrong with the plumbing in the bathroom that was closest to our lean-to. And it wasn't one bathroom for one lean-to. It was a nice, enclosed, whatever, showers, everything like that. And maybe 5 lean-tos were assigned to this bathroom, what I can remember, right? So our bathroom was shut down because the plumbing was messed up. But it was modern and new. It was just something backed up. Maybe one of the kids threw a towel or something, paper towel, in the toilet or in the sink, and it backed everything up. So we had to go for that day or two until it was repaired. We had to go over to the next bathroom where the other 4 or 5 lean-tos were assigned to. So now it was a bit overcrowded. So, kids being kids, oh no, we got to go first. You don't belong here, whatever. Maybe that was their precursor to racism, but they were doing it to the other white boys too, right? So I'm sitting here brushing my teeth. There were other sinks there. I'm brushing my teeth. Guess who comes over and shoves me? Michael Rockefeller. I didn't know who the hell is Michael Rockefeller? Oh, he has the same last name as the governor, Nelson Rockefeller. I'm thinking it's just the same name, no relation. I wasn't really aware of that name meant something. It didn't mean nothing to me because I shoved him down on the ground. His glasses got knocked off and his head was down in the corner, like he hurt his head or something like that. And he ran out crying. And so the council wanted to come back and find out what happened. And they weren't so quick to jump to conclusions. But there was one person standing there kind of looking at me, sneering at me. He was a counselor. I never talked to him. He was a counselor for some lean-tos way on the other side, but I found out his name was Jim Pugh. And he was a tall guy, which, 11 years old, 12 years old, because this was in 1975, and I was 12 years old, right? So now the music was different, but I didn't get to hear music up there like I like, right? But later on, and they kind of chastised him, but they gave him, a slap on the wrist because he was a Rockefeller, right? So I can say I laid hands on a Rockefeller. I don't want to say that too much. Somebody else might come back and try to do something, right? Chance Rogers, welcome on in. Earth Angel, yes. So I'm walking to the barn. This particular week, we had chores that we rotated, whether it was some type of gardening or maintenance. Not that they were working us like slaves, because everything was a learning experience in the chores that we had. Nobody wanted barn chores. You know why? Because there were 45 horses in the barn. And it was impressive because these horses were beautiful and kept up. But we learned how to take care of horses because we learned how to ride horses. And that was pretty good, So we all had our favorite horses. And some people wanted to do barn chores all the time because they were into that, but they wouldn't allow it because it would break the rotation of somebody else having that experience, whether they wanted it or not. So I was on my way over there early. It really wasn't a strict time thing, but it was kind of a strict time thing because you had to be done by a certain time. So I'm walking down this long road, which to me, maybe it was shorter, but it was like 3 miles from where my lean-to was. And somebody walked up behind me. I didn't hear him, but it was that man who was staring at me after the Michael Rockefeller fight. And it was Jim Pugh. And he had these thick glasses. He had muscular calves, like he lifted weights, but his upper body wasn't like real muscular or anything, but he looked like he did something athletic. And even though at 12 years old, anything over 30 or 25, it's a blur because everybody's old then, So I would say that he had to be about 32 when I look back at it. Maybe a little older, but he looked to be 32. Maybe he could have been 28. or maybe 30, but he was around there, right? He wasn't old, but he was older than me. So he's like, hey, Lance, how are you? And I said, good morning, Mr. Pugh. He says, you can call me Jim. I said, okay. So we had a long walk. We weren't walking brisk, but we weren't walking slow. And he told me, I don't know how I got on this story, but I'm going to finish it and we're going to get on with the laws. But he told me, he says, yeah, you handled yourself pretty good with Michael Rockefeller. I said, well, all I did was shove him down. He said, when he got back up, he looked like he was going to do something, but you were ready. I can tell you already. I can tell you got that spirit. I said, well, whatever it is, and I'm not speaking as advanced, like, I'm 12 years old, but I was very smart. I mean, I'm holding a conversation with this man. So he says, do you know how to swim? I said, no, I don't. He said, well, you got to try to take swimming lessons. And I didn't know that his secret after hours when everybody goes to sleep fling was this woman named, I think her name was Katie, a white girl, right? And even my counselor, Emery, he was messing around with the counselor for the other lean-to at night. They were kind of hang out there and, saw what they were doing, right? So we never blew him up. But anyway, because 8 weeks and then they know each other, whatever, secret lovers. So he says, we ought to try to get some swimming lessons. I said, well, yeah, I'm going to get around to doing that because here there's just so much to do. And I said, I'm having a good time, even though I miss my folks and I miss the neighborhood. So he says, yeah, this is a lot different from the inner cities. I said, I'm a New Yorker and I live in the city. I said, but I live out in Queens. It's a little different than what you may call the projects. I was already fiery at that age and I was sniffing them already, right? So he says, well, do you know why I tell you that you need to learn how to swim? And I said, no, why? He says, well, not for nothing, but you know how black men, and this is a 30 or 32, 28-year-old talking to a 12-year-old, trying to get into my mind. And people wonder why I am the way I am, because I had to deal with a lot of this stuff from young. Well, in basketball, the black players, they dominate. And I think back then he said Negro, because this was 75. A lot of them didn't want to say black. You know what I mean? James Brown, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, back in the late 60s, right? That we took that, right? We ain't Negroes no more. You called us that. We black, even though people have issue with that now, right? So he says, well, they have an extra bone in their leg that helps them to jump higher. This is why they dominate basketball. This is why they're stronger in football. This is where they get the punching power to fight better and be stronger than the white fighters and other fighters, because black men have an extra bone in their body. And I told him I never heard anything like that before in my life. I didn't say it like that because, again, that's the 12-year-old version of Lancescurv. So he said, yes, and that's the very reason why I want to tell you to swim. I said, so you tell me why, because I know this was BS. He said, because of that extra bone in the leg, you sink faster. You're heavier. You sink faster. I said, oh, really? I said, that remains to be seen, in my own 12-year-old way. And I said, you know what? My parents taught me about people like you. See, you wouldn't say that in front of everybody else. You caught me by myself to tell me this, to mess with my mind. I said, I'm going to tell my father about you. I'm going to tell my mother about you. And you don't want to run into my father because he will hurt you for these lies that you're telling. I never heard anything like this before in my life. And we're gonna talk in front. No, you don't have to do that. I was trying to help you. They don't really want to tell you this because it makes people feel like they're not the same. And I believe that we're equal. I said, no, it's too late. I said, as a matter of fact, let me tell you something. Now I'm talking some 12-year-old revolutionary smack. I may not have known all, but remember, I grew up with a revolutionary-minded mother and father. You know, his business was centered in Washington Heights and Harlem. I'm used to seeing the Nation of Islam when they would walk around with the Muhammad Speaks paper before it was final call when Farrakhan took it back over in 1979. I said, well, I come from a place where we had Black Panthers, Nation of Islam, 12 tribes of, the Hebrew Israelites. We have other groups down there, the 5%ers, and I never heard them speak about that. They spoke about how people who look like you are devils and liars and messed away. I told him this at 12 years old up there, and this man, I said, yeah, I don't know everything, but what you said is a lie. And as soon as I write my letter back to my parents, they're going to be up here, and you're going to have to deal with my father as a man and my mother. Okay, carry on. He let me walk by myself. He never said nothing to me. But guess what? After I wrote the letter, my mother and father, they demanded a phone call. Not that we couldn't have a phone call, because, some of the kids would get really homesick. I want to just hear my mommy's voice. So they would do that. But they called up there, and they demanded to speak to me. And I spoke to them, in front of a counselor, a neutral counselor, because they had to have a counselor there, not to listen to what you're saying, but what if I accuse somebody of touching me, right? So they had to be there to make sure to document everything within earshot. The next 3 days, my father was up there. See, this is why it's important to have a father. This is why it's important to have a father that's with the mother. Now, things don't always work out. But I don't know what he said to him. But Jim Pugh didn't get fired, but he wasn't there for the rest of the year. That was the compromise. He wasn't there for the rest of the year. And that was my last year there as a 12-year-old. And from that point on, when I saw my parents, I'm like, listen, I want to get out of here. Everything was paid for the rest of the next 4 weeks. But I rode back down with them. And so you flash forward into the future. This was 2013, 14. And I ran across some people on my Facebook that they suggested as a friend. I'm like, wait, I know that name. They have a mysterious way of suggesting people, like, how do they know I know this person? So I clicked on a few of them, and I saw how they went on in the world to do things because they have this privilege. They have, they were already set up. This one person in the movie industry, this one person who owns this transportation company, and this other person, whatever. So our friend requested about a curiosity. I didn't have to do that. So we connected. Oh, Lance, I remember you. Would you like to come to the reunion? And I'm messing with him. I wasn't going to go to the reunion. I'd like to. Well, evidently, they must have dug a little deep into my social media. Because I was blocked. And I know why. Not that I wouldn't have blended in and talked and spoke on good memories, but they know what's in their heart. And they really remembered me. And somebody must have said, hey, this guy, So yeah, it's yes, he was gifty. I'm gonna do a whole show about him. Seriously. And I ain't gonna make stuff up. You'll swear he was a superhero. With his 5'6.5" self, 215 pounds, built like Mike Tyson. Wow. I get a lot of who I am through him and my mother equally. And I'm a blending of my mother and my father. When I'm with my mother, oh, you look just like your mother. When I'm with my father, oh, you look just like your father. It was confusing. Let me move on, y'all. Number 4, the law of responsibility. You are responsible for your own life. Blaming, oh, didn't I just say that one again? Will keep you stuck. Yeah, responsibility. Too many people, okay, and why I went on to that Jim Pugh racist story was something that triggered me when I saw this. Blaming others or external circumstances for your problems will only keep you stuck. You know how white folks, racism, it can't stop you. Look, it has crushed many of us. And when it's the systemic racism, it can block people from ascending to what's in them, right? The world system that we are in can, but to me now, more so than ever before, ain't nothing gonna stop me. See, because I'm out of the system now. So whatever it is I'm supposed to become, I'm going to explode even more because I've been contained in that system in America that I hate so much. Yes, I said hate. It's not the people or the land. It's not my people or the land. I love the land. I would love to go see the Grand Canyon one day. I've never been to the West Coast. You know what I mean? There's certain things, but I'm cool here, even if it's the rest of my life. I'm going to travel. It's a big world out there. I don't have to go back to America. I've been like the prison. Man, I did 57 years in Sing Sing. Well, I did 57 years in America. Let me see something else. But right now, I'm not going to give them the credit of saying they stopped me. I never ever did before. It was a struggle, but now they're going to see me fly in whatever area I'm going to go into that I don't even know about that's going to pop up 5 years from now, but will be directly related to this time because of the law of patience, right? You are responsible for your own life, blaming others. And I'm not turning into one of them dudes, black dudes. Oh, you're blaming, and giving them a pass. No, all I'm saying is that I'm built for this and I'm so bad within myself. Like not bad like a bad guy, but like Chuck D said, he's bad by his damn self. So whatever it is that I have to do, I'm going to take it on the chin and we're going to win this fight. And so those sometimes who feel the systemic racism in maybe you're in a job, you're in a corporate world or academe or just whatever it may be, and it's stopping you that way. That's their system. Break out of it. Even if you're still in it, have a party that's not in it, that you do your own thing independently and show them how great you are. Because even when I got hired by the corrections department and they were, oh, aren't you glad? You're going to learn so much and you're going to grow in certain ways in dealing with people, human nature. I said, listen, the job better be thankful that I'm here. You're paying me well, right? But you're paying me well for what I bring to the table. I'm not some little rookie in life. Yes, there are protocols that we have to follow with law and different, different laws that they have, statutes and everything. You have to follow that. But human nature, discerning things, knowing how to talk to people and deal with people and know what's up. You didn't tell me that. I'm bringing that. I'm making this place better. And it's not a matter of being souped up. And I think that too many of us are too grateful. I'm not saying I'm throwing off at anybody here, but too many of us, I'm just glad to be here. And look, you can talk that talk if you want to keep that job, but you got to know in yourself, you bring a lot to the table. And I'm not going to thank you for something that the Creator put inside of me. How dare I insult the Creator? Whatever name you want to call the Creator, whatever, we're not here for that. We're talking universal law right now. I'm not going to give thanks to some man-made, finite, limited, tainted, toxic institution for the greatness that was put inside of me. And I'm not souped up on myself. I'm souped up on the Creator. I'm souped up on what he put inside of me, which is beyond me. My job is to make all the kernels of the popcorn pop in the bag before it's pulled out of the microwave. You know my analogy. I don't have to go through it. If people don't know, you put the bag of popcorn in there. Pop, 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 pop. Some don't pop until late. Some pop early. Some don't pop at all. I'm trying to get all the kernels of corn in my bag of popcorn, which are attributes that the Creator gave me and seeds of greatness. I want them all popped before I transition. Because I think it's a sin for you to leave this world and you got all of these unpopped kernels in your popcorn bag. I'm speaking abstract. Somebody coming on, what the hell are you talking about, man? Man, give me some of what you smoking, man. What you smoking? That's right, Gifty. Let me highlight this. Racism is not our fault, but it's our problem to deal with and overcome. Yes, and our perception, like the law of perception. Reality is shaped by how you perceive the world. Your mindset determines whether you see obstacles or opportunities. And this is an opportunity to show how bad I am because the Creator fashioned me in that way. You see what I mean? You see? You went to that story because you were talking about experiencing racism as a black man. Yes, in your life, Yes, I'm free flowing. We must die empty, just like, Miles Monroe said. And it's a pleasure to empty out. Like the tree that, bears fruit and it has seeds and it flourishes and all over that area. You see the apples, you see the oranges, the mangoes. It's supposed to keep on going. We're supposed to keep on going. We're supposed to light the candles in other people so that they can shine on and glow, and it won't hurt us. Everything has a purpose. You see an island way out in the Pacific. You're like, how did they get these fruit trees that are close to the coast on the west coast of California or whatever? I'm just making this up. You know how it got there? Well, the wind could have blown it. The water could have washed it. But nobody thinks about the bird who ate that fruit or pecked at that berry and swallowed a seed and flew over that island and took a dump, right? Didn't plant it in the ground, but the SHIT that was around that seed fed that seed and protected it from something else eating it. And then it gave it a chance to sink its roots down in the soil and grow. So sometimes, like they say that story, I don't know how they say it, sometimes it's the SHIT that we're in that propels us to the next level, and we thought it was something bad and stinking. Ain't that something? The law of intention. Your intentions set the tone for your actions and ultimately shape your destiny. Be clear about your goals and align your actions with those intentions. How are you going to have intentions? You don't know what the goals are. You got to state that out. You got to, like Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. Like Bruce Lee, he was struggling in Hollywood. And one day he sat down and he said, nobody told him this. He wrote it down. I'm going to be the most famous Asian actor in America. I'm going to be known for my skill in the martial art and my acting abilities. And to get there, I have to work hard. To get there, I have to go over and above because there's nobody trailblazing it like me. So I'm beating a path. So what do I have to do to get there? I see myself there. And we know in Hollywood, you just can't decide for yourself that you're going to do this or do this or do that because you got bigwigs who decide what they need and want and who's going to finance what. You just can't be great. I'm going to go to Hollywood and be the greatest actor. You know how it is these days. You better be part of that inner circle who may be doing kind of crazy things. Best you be somebody who, has a little power in the creative world there. And he worked very hard. And he took every opportunity. And I don't know exactly how his story went, but you all know who Bruce Lee is. He's been dead for decades. So why do we just generalize our ambitions for success? Why do we, one day I want to be famous. Why do you want to be famous? How are you going to be famous? Why do you want to? You got to master something to be famous. And being famous should not be the initial goal of what you're doing. Whatever you do and you're bad at it, I'm talking slang, not bad. He keeps saying bad, Ellie. What does he mean by this? I thought this was a good broadcast today. You got to be absolutely a master in what you do. And even then, when they see you contain the revolutionary spirit inside of you, even if you don't blurt it out, they can pick it up and still try to come at you. So you still have to have the satisfaction of knowing what you have. And then out in the world, somebody needs it. What you have, even if the system that you're in tries to hold you back, there's still somebody out there beyond their grasp that needs it on a divine level. So never slow down. They took almost 6,000 videos that I had dating back from 2010 up to April or May or February or March when they took it. Thank the Creator, I will salvage most of them. But you think I sat down? I got something to do. I got a goal. And the goal is not to be famous. When I started doing this stuff, I was drawing pictures and uploading them, and there was no picture of me online. except a little thing, the size of your pinky nail, that when you would try to amplify it, it was pixelated. I wasn't concerned about that. I was into the joy of the process. But anytime your greatness beckons you to move to something bigger, you must embrace it. I wouldn't know any of you here. I wouldn't have the friendships and the family ships that I have now if I turned away from that. You see what I mean? So one thing leads to another. Law of intention. Your intentions set the tone for your actions and ultimately shape your destiny. But when you have intentions, you must figure out the blueprint to get there and submit to it and work tirelessly. And I don't mean work out of balance. And there are times when you have to hit deadlines, depending on what you do, but you have to groom yourself. I mean, the righteous way. That word groom has been so tainted by these pedophiles out here. I don't mean it that way. I mean, groom yourself. See yourself that way. Do everything that you possibly can to become that person that you project. Make that happen. Too many of us don't understand that we can control that. And in my meditations of thinking about that, I'm like, man, Lance, for most of your life, you've been slacking. Some people say, man, you're doing good, man. You know, you should have been on crack. You should have been in jail. You should have killed somebody and had about 10 babies. And no, I'm a survivor. And everybody doesn't get it right away. Some know their mission from 14. Some know from 5 years old. I knew there was something about me. And I never said it because people say, oh man, you're thinking too big for yourself. And I don't even care what the world says. I don't care if I'm locked away in some room creating things and my name is erased off of it. I'm going to do it. The fame is look, I got enough hugs when I was a kid. I got enough attention when I was doing bodybuilding, and everything I did brought me attention. So that doesn't get me. There's some people who come on social media and say, I want to make money, but what should I do? Then you don't know who you are. You don't know, and it shouldn't even be about money. It should be about your passion, which will bring you money. If your money is the only thing and you try to find a scam or a gimmick, it ain't going to work, buddy. It's hard enough. And YouTube ain't paying out like it used to. I'll explain that on another show. I did it before, but I'm going to have a random show one day between now and the next few days. I just talk about anything and explain certain things that people don't know. Number 6, the law of balance. Life requires balance between work and rest, giving and receiving, and ambition and contentment. Too much focus on one area will lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. That's a given. And I understand. You can't tell someone who you're working for that you have a deadline to produce something that you're not going to do it because, see, it's going to cost them. And you enter into a contract on something, you might have to have some, not sleepless nights, but reduced sleep. I'll tell you one thing. Last night, I was so excited after the show, after releasing emotional stuff and getting into it and explaining myself and showing people that when you see a bitter Black woman, it doesn't mean just something bad and just, angry, be like, blah, 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 blah. It was a challenge to me because when I set that show up, I'm like, oh God, people are they're going to not know what's in my heart. I have to say things in a way in that title and category and string things together. I'm going to have to put together a hell of a performance. Not performance, but where people say, hey, I understand, because I don't want nobody to misunderstand me here. You see? So I think I rose to the occasion. I did what I did. But afterward, I was hyped. It was 3, 4, almost 5 o'clock. And then the lights went out for a little while. And I went to sleep, got up, everything was back on. But that's spooky up in the mountains. You don't see nothing. But I was good. And I woke up a little later and I was refreshed. And I started planning out my day. But I don't just say I'm going to, there's things I want to do, but I listen to that inner voice inside of me. Well, do this, do that. Set up the show before you leave the house. take your shower, eat a little bit of food, go on down, do a few shorts if you can. Come on back, take a nap, eat something. Boom, and here I am. Because of the balance that I'm not. And at times I get imbalanced. Yeah, we all get imbalanced. We can't have perfect balance in our lives living in this system. If you're in the system, and because I may be in West Africa, doesn't mean I'm out of the system completely because, I'm waiting for them paychecks to come every first of the month. My bills are not as much as it used to be, but we're doing construction. So everything goes to that. And I'm living lean right now. Ain't no lifestyles of the rich and famous over here. But you can feel that in your heart because success means different things to different people. And I feel successful to get my whole leg out the system, even though it still bite me in the ankle. I'm trying to hurry before some of these things that people predict come true, if it's to come true. Whether it's biblical or what they're saying, the conspiracy theorists and all, this world is crazy. But I know where I want to be and what I want to do. The intention, the balance. I'm living more balanced than I ever have in my whole life. I'm talking about between rest, eating, being still, having more time to think, getting to know myself more. I've always known myself at each level, but there were times when I had lots of chaos around me, not from living a crazy life, but just living fast, no drugs, no crime, girlfriends in my 20s. So you have the upbringing, but you're kind of like out of your lane a little bit. When you go over the lane a little bit, and it's a 2-lane road, one coming and one going, and you go over the line a little bit, and there's this car that comes quick around the bend, and you're like, "Oh, let me get back in my lane." Oh, that was almost a head-on collision. And I'm driving up near the wall now. I need a bumper on in my lane because I'm not trying to have no near misses right now. Because it's so easy for so many people to collapse and lose their footing and lose it all. You see? I'm trying to keep everything in balance that will let me go further. The tires on your car, if they're out of alignment and out of balance, they rub the concrete more and they wear down the treads down to nothing. So you think you saving money. I ain't going to take it to do no rotation. Them tires are thick. And faster than it should have worn down, it's worn down now. Now you got to buy brand new tires. You should have took them in and aligned them. Alignment as imbalanced. You have less wear and tear in your life when you live in balance. Not imbalance, I'm talking about in balance in everything you do. You have some people who are fanatics. When I used to go work out in the gym and all these bodybuilders who are on the steroids, they wanted to get there quicker. Now where are they? Many of my friends are dead who I used to go to the gym with in the late 70s and early 80s. I stopped at 85, never took drugs. A lot of them look, they're alive. Hey man, I know how old you are because we the same age, but daggone it. I'm 61 too, but I look like I'm 81. How you look like that? And it's not even ego. And just to get off the topic for a second, to add this in, your spirit can age you. That's a whole other show. If you're envious, if you're toxic, if you hate on people for no reason because of your own, I'm not going to say failures, because a failure is a chance to succeed if you learn from it. But some people age themselves and don't even realize it. And some of them eat good, take good care of themselves, go to the gym, get the checkups, take care of whatever it is health-wise, and they still look aged, old. And we're all going to age. We're all going to become older versions of ourselves. Come on now. We see this all the time in our own lives. Somebody sends you a Facebook photo from some album they had, friend of yours from 20, 30 years ago. And the first thing, oh my God, look how young I look. Because you got older. But that's the physical. But it doesn't have to be as fast. Because we have a lot coming at us in this world. We have to move fast. We got to think more. We got to plan. We got to do. It's too much. There was a saying I heard earlier. I'm gonna focus. I'm gonna make a short out of that. And the words were so poetic, but basically it was suggesting that when you're younger, it's no problem to live in the bigger cities where there are opportunities. Whatever you have, your career, your job, where you make your money, whatever, then move to a small town when you get older, when there's less hassle, when you can have a better pace for your life. But don't get older in a big city, because you'll become derailed, because as you slow down, it's still going to stay just as fast and go faster, and you'll be out of touch more. Go to places where it has that forever feel. And that's one of the reasons why I'm up here in the mountains, where things ain't going to change that fast. In the inner cities, they'll tell you, well, it's going to be a mall across the street next year. And believe it or not, boom, here it is. Folks moving in, folks moving out. You don't know your neighbors. Nah, I want to go somewhere that the city slickers would say is boring, right? Number 7, the law of adaptability. The ability to adapt to changing circumstances is crucial for survival. Those who resist change will struggle, while those who embrace it will thrive. Well, what comes to mind? Adaptability. It's told in different ways. I'm going to tell it this way. You got the palm tree and you got the oak tree. The oak tree is like, I ain't got to adapt to nothing because I'm the strongest tree out here. And the palm tree looks weak to the oak tree. The oak tree is big and wide. And you ever see a big oak tree, man, that thing is huge. It goes way up and it's strong. You kick it, you jump on it, it ain't moving nowhere. The palm tree, you try to climb it and get, it bends. But see, that's the strength of the palm tree, that it's adaptable. See, you don't see an oak tree growing anywhere where there are hurricanes now, do you? That's one of the mysteries of nature, right? But if you were to put this strong oak tree somewhere along the coastline of Florida, a big, strong oak tree, and let a hurricane come by, its own rigid strength would cause it to snap under those Category 5 hurricane winds. And the little noodle, weak, bendable palm tree just leans back. Like Fat Joe, lean back, lean back, lean back. And after the storm is over, it might stay bent a little bit, but it's still alive. It's still there. While the oak tree broke and all over the ground, and it's dying now. To be able to adapt. Don't you think I had to adapt once I moved out here? I had gone through so much on so many levels. I'll reveal it one day, but I had to adapt. And it's one thing my father always taught me: adapt to your environment. It may be uncomfortable, but you may have a goal to reach, and you can't quit because the environment is uncomfortable. When I learned bodybuilding and discipline and controlling your appetite and listening to your body on how much food you needed, I didn't have to count calories. I already knew I need a little bit more protein now. I need a little bit more complex carbohydrates right now. It's 7:30. I'm going to bed at 9. So I need to back up off the carbohydrates so I don't put too much. You know what I mean? I'm reading my body's dashboard without having a physical dashboard, like a car that you can see. The oil is low. Redlining. The alternator's messed up. So you adapt. So now there are times when I may have been in situations where I didn't have as much food and didn't have as much money until the 2 days when I got paid. Nobody around me where I can get a little extra food or whatever have you. So I got X amount. Let's just make something up. I got 9 eggs in 2 days, or 8 eggs in 2 days. That's 4 eggs today and tomorrow, right? Or tomorrow and the next day, right? I only got so much rice. So I got 2 cups of rice. I got to live off of that. Water's unlimited. I might have 4 pieces of fruit. So I might have one in the morning, tomorrow, one in the evening, and stretch it out. And because I know I'm not going to have as much calories going through my system, and I'm free those 2 days, I'm going to lay down and read and be still and not put a caloric demand on my body where I'm going to crave more food, therefore feel hungrier. Adaptability. But to adapt, you have to know yourself. And you can't move in fear, because lots of times we're more adaptable than we understand and can comprehend. Sometimes when you got to do it, you got to do it. Now, on that note, I got to do it. Like I said a little earlier, I've been drinking a lot of water these days. So give me a moment to go and take care of the water bill. I'm going to play a little song, right? My same old little going to the bathroom song, but I'm not going to be that long. It may be just 90 seconds because I'm close to relief. I'll be right back, y'all.
Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition, stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion? Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we're living, for us there's nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research and tells us plainly that before the white man gained entry to the East, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous beast, eating juniper roots and eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then, following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia and Africa. From China, he took silk and gunpowder. From India, he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast.
Song at the end, so that you can get to hear it from the beginning. And I used to play it more, and I'm gonna start playing it again. That's my signature song. Also, there's no copyright on that song, so YouTube does not give me a strike. Okay, so that's the good part about it. Let me pause it. Or should I pause it? I think it'll run out to the end and I can start it off again from the beginning. But and I do still have it in my module here, which I think I'm gonna play it. I think it's a better version, a clearer version, because I love the scratches, because like I said, around 3 years old, I demanded that my parents play that song. I didn't demand like I'm telling them what to do, but I demanded they play that song before I went to bed. So my imagination was stoked, and that helped to mold me also, as well as their tutelage and them telling me to deal about life without the geeky goo 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 goo. They told me what was up, you know. So I thank them for that, for an expanded consciousness, that I didn't have to go through things, and I did still, but I knew how to answer people back like Jim Pugh. Okay. Willie Rivers, Landon Price. Who else came in here now? Let me see. I got the computer way on the other side. You know, exactly, Tracy J. Having a bad spirit brings the illnesses. Exactly. You know? Let me see here. Landis is around. See the Human Nature book. You did your thing, breaking it down. Oh, yeah, we're going to break all kind of things down now. We're going to have we're going to have all types of things we get into. Willie Rivers, thank you for being here, brother. Thank you. I got the family here tonight. So we just talked about the law of adaptability. And just let me know if you hear me loud and clear, since I'm back. And what is this mouse doing? It's doing what it wants to do. No. I'm not trying to see that part of the screen. Okay, the next one. Number 8, the law of persistence. Nothing worth having comes easily. Perseverance in the face of adversity is what separates those who succeed from those who give up too soon. And isn't it something? Usually when someone gives up, it's right before they get the prize. It's right before they reach their goal. And you have to be persistent. Me, I have the mentality, and it's been put into me from young, to talk in boxing terms. No matter how much punches you take, which you should be also taught defense, so you can have a long career, you keep throwing punches. Your job is to throw as many punches as you can, soft and hard. But to be able to do that, you have to be in shape. That's physical shape and mental shape in boxing or any type of sport. But with persistence, it's a different type of shape you have to be in, because when you give up, that means your spirit was weakened or your spirit was just weak. See, even the strong-spirited people may think about giving up for a second, and something inside them says, oh, no, that's not me. Get away from me. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to keep on throwing punches. And so whatever it is that I have to do, if it's a tutorial for a new program, or if it's moving to a whole different country, or whatever it may be, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I set out for my day today, and I feel successful. I'm here right now like I planned this morning, and all the things in between, and it was a glorious day for me. People were walking up to me, and we would engage in conversation, just like in the market, right? Oh, I got to tell you something else, and I'm going to go down there with a video camera and thank this woman. I had a freshly squeezed container of coconut juice and orange juice. And when I purchased these mangoes from this lady who was at the market, right? It's a certain type of mango that I like. I didn't even know the name. I know I'm on site. I put down these 2 containers on her table. I paid her, and she started a conversation. So we talked for about 5 or 6 minutes. And then I realized the van that I was looking to get was filling up, and I wanted to get it to come all the way back up into the mountains back home. So I said, when I come back, we're going to talk, right? And it was an interesting, short conversation, but very interesting. So I grabbed my shopping bags, and I walked on down to the van, and the guy, they see me, they know, oh, we know where he's going. Hey, Brony, come on over here. We're going up to, the destination. So I sat in the van, and I got a chance to sit in the front seat. Right before it pulled off, maybe about another 5 or 6 minutes, because where this table was when I was purchasing the mangoes and I put my 2 containers down, I didn't realize it, but I walked away and left it. Well, wouldn't you know, there was a girl who I didn't even know who she was. She walked up to me and said, here, sir, here are your 2 juices. You left them on the table. Evidently, the lady there must have pointed me out and described me, because they knew I was coming to the van, and the van didn't pull off yet. I wouldn't be mad if they kept it and drank it if I left. But that was such a kind gesture. And that let me know that what you put out comes back to you. It was a certain synchronization today that I had with the universe and my day. Everything went smooth. And maybe there wasn't any grand lesson I had to learn today. Maybe I was a good student. It's like, we're not going to put you through any challenges or some uncomfortable position. We're going to give you a smooth one today. There have been times when I was driving a bus in Orlando, Florida, the city bus, driving for the company called Lynx, that I knew the lights by heart. If I get through this particular light, When I get to that next block near the light at this particular speed, it's going to turn red for years. And there have been times when I had to get to the destination to catch this next bus that may be leaving soon because there's a lady in a wheelchair who wants to get that transfer, that bus. And because, I don't know, that sense of urgency of the universe working along with you, I would leave that particular light on the Orange Blossom Trail and that light by Tampa Avenue. By the time I got near it, it would turn red. And that was a long light. Well, in my heart of hearts, I wish there was a way. I mean, I could have ate the light, but if somebody smashed me, what are you doing? And we got it on camera. As I approached the light, it turned red, as I knew it would. But as soon as I crept up on it, it turned green again. And all of the lights were in sync. They opened up when I got near it. There's things in this world, in this universe, that we just can't understand. And we have to trust in that. And sometimes things are not what they appear to be. The law of persistence. Sometimes you'll be up against things that seem that you can't defeat it. You can't win. Don't think that way. You're made for a purpose and made for a reason. And while you may not be able to win everything, even in a loss, and you put up a good showing and showed persistence that showed your heart, you go out on your shield. You ever see a boxing match, for those who watch boxing, and it's a back and forth battle and they fought to the end, both of them. You can't even tell which one won. And you say to yourself, if this one wins, I'm not mad. If that one wins, I'm not mad. But one of those fighters was a virtual unknown, and the other was a champion who was dominant. So even the unknown may have lost that fight. Now he receives accolades because you came out of nowhere and you weren't intimidated, and you could have possibly received a decision. So even though you're doing something that you may feel you fell short of the mark, somebody's watching you and somebody saw your effort. That's why you have to remain persistent. As soon as you get knocked down, you get back up. The day my computer was hacked into, yes, I was a little upset. I'm a human. But within 2 or 3 days, I created I think the next day, I created this channel here and didn't look back. Right? So I practice what I preach. And that was 14 years of video, up late at night, all kind of banners, all kind of interviews. What? Nah. Persistence. My father taught me and my mother taught me, you ball that fist up. Symbolically now, I'm not talking about if you have a challenge and you'll just go punch somebody in the face. You know what I mean? My teacher challenged me. I got in the front of the room and knocked him out. Well, you're going to get locked up. The law of connection. Everything in the universe is interconnected. Your thoughts, actions, and energy affect the world around you. And in turn, the world affects you. If I didn't have such a beautiful conversation with the lady down in the market, you think those 2 bottles of juice would have came back to me? What if I cussed her out because one of the fruits were bruised against my liking? See, it may not come back to you one way, but it'll come back to you another way. When you have that energy, like it said, you're interconnected. You're connected to things that you don't even know of yet. You're connected to people that you haven't met yet. They lived all their life, and your life and their life is on a righteous collision course. But at the same token, if you have a bad spirit, bad energy, bad thoughts, bad actions, your life is also on a collision course with a similar energy, and you're going to cancel each other out. You can feel it when you're connected within yourself. Have you ever gone I'm always talking about supermarket, which is always talking about food. Let me get a sip of this juice right here. See this juice? I wouldn't have had this if I was an evil person. They would have said, let that fool go on. We're going to drink this thing ourselves. Give me 10 seconds, y'all. Live enzymes. Ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like it. I'm looking at the chat room now. Gifty today. Today was a good day. Gifty also said the show has me in tears. It's from the heart, sweetheart. That's how we're going to do from now on. Diane! Oh, Diane! How are you? That's how we're going to do from now on. If we're laughing, if we're serious, even when we have an adult show and I tell y'all some dirty jokes to make y'all laugh, it don't mean y'all are nasty, nothing like that, but we need to have some humor too. But it won't be on YouTube. And I'll tell them in a decent way. You know, the full range. The full range. I just love to see the collection here of us like-minded people. And there'll be times I say things that you won't agree with, and that's okay. And you can tell me. And I'll learn from you. You see? I'm not sitting up here with some big ego and, oh, you guys, Lancescurv, don't you know who I am? No. You know, what was the other saying that I heard? Oh, God, what was it? It was, I'm not going to say it because I'm a jacket of it, but it's about not knowing. Like when you really know, you know that you don't know everything. Something to the effect of that. Right? Because people who feel they know everything, they don't know anything. Like you cut yourself off. You cut yourself off that supply line of the constant flow, the never-ending flow of realizations, ascensions, and knowledge, because you're pumped up with yourself. Yeah, I know everything. No, I don't know nothing. Whatever I know is minuscule. I just got here the other day. There are trees I'm looking at that have been here longer than me. There's trees here in this, around this house that we just built, that were here in the mountains before I was born on April 8th, 1963, 5:34 in the morning in Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in Washington Heights, New York. And here I am, like I'm something if I'm pumped up. The tree said, man, we've been here. And the tree gonna tell you, unless you cut me down, bro, I'm gonna be here after you. The mountain ranges that I see, they've been here. I'll be gone and they'll be here. So don't get too pumped up on yourself. Keep it humble. You'll always be able to grow. You'll always have room to learn. Isn't that something? We're all interconnected. And when you know that, as you need, you get, because we're interconnected. When you feel down, inspiration will come to you, even if you don't voice it. All of your needs will be met. Once you realize we're connected, the trick is stay connected to worthwhile energies. Notice I didn't just say people, but energies. Keep yourself connected to worthwhile music, worthwhile books, worthwhile thoughts, and of course, worthwhile people. Because no matter what level you're on as far as your ascension in consciousness, as long as you're moving upward, you can't pull me back down because you're pushing up. And by me cutting the path like that first bird in the formation of birds flying, you make it easy for the other birds that are flying behind you. Isn't that a beautiful thing when you think about it? And that's nature. That's nature. Next is the law of growth. Personal growth is a lifelong journey. There is no endpoint. You are always evolving. Growth often happens during challenging times. So embrace difficulties as opportunities for learning. I'm not going to do no tearjerker tonight, but there have been times in my life that I've been challenged greatly and didn't know what the next day will bring. And those are the times that I grew the most. Because I can jot down a list and read off of it, but can I tell you something about it from personal experience? I'm not sitting here, well, I think that means, no, I know what this stuff means because I've tasted all of these laws. Whether it was me who tasted it directly or saw an example in someone else to learn from somebody else's misjudgments. Do I have to actually jump off a building to understand what the law of gravity is? I ain't no fool. I've said it before. You take a kitten new to this earth and put him up on a tall building on the edge of the roof and let him walk freely. He'll look down. He's going to back away from that bad boy because he knows innately the law of gravity. He understands it. But even that little newborn kitten is smart enough to realize it. And here we are in life, pumped up on ourselves. I'm not saying anybody here, but pumped up on ourselves, thinking we know everything and making some damn stupid mistakes because we so pumped up on ourselves, because we have not grown. We think because we have this title or we have the accolades from low vibrational entities and whatever we have in our head, cleanse it out, y'all. Clean the slate. You got to clean the slate. You got one class that's the first grade, and then that same classroom, the sixth grade may come after. You got to clean the blackboard because the sixth grade already conquered that already. Just the same way if the first grade came after the sixth and the occupancy of that room, they don't understand the sixth grade mathematics. It's too much for them. And there are things that happen to us that we can't digest all the way. And it's about our growth. Haven't you had something happen to you in your life that you could not understand? You prayed and you meditated, you looked within and you just couldn't get the answer. You couldn't get the answer because you weren't grown enough then to understand. Somebody breaks up with you and you can't figure it out. They never gave you an answer. And one day you're driving down the street and the song comes on and reminds you of that person. And because now you've been through so much more, and you've grown and you have more insight, when you think about that person, you say, oh, that's why they couldn't be around me. But you had to catch up to understand that same situation. So the first grader who peaked on the sixth grade work said, oh my God, I don't know the answer to that. We'll go through the second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and be into the sixth grade, and you see that same blackboard worth of work, you say, we did that last month. That's how life is. You see? So things that are on the back burner are things that you sometimes have to file away because you're not ready to wrap your mind around it because you need more experiences. Just like when you go to a job. And you put in your resume. Well, you have a pretty good resume for what it is right now, but you need more experience to work here. And then in your enthusiasm, you feel rejected. But in the long run, you understand because could they hire you for a certain position that you're not ready for? And see, that's what happens with us. We hire ourselves for positions that we're not ready for. We get ourselves in relationships that we are not ready for. We act like we have the experience. We might fill in some things on the resume of our character, projections. But when things get tough, we gone. Fellas, you see that beautiful, shapely, pretty, intelligent, decent young lady. And the only thing you got on your mind is pleasure. So you talk to her in a very mature way, and your male friends who are on a low vibration just like you, they laughing because like, man, you something else. You told her that. You know you can't handle a relationship with that woman. Well, we the same age. Yeah, but she's so much more mature than you are, and you have her fooled. And now you get what you want, and you keep hanging around, and you find out she's pregnant. And you don't have that much of a work history or way of earning. Now the pleasure don't seem too tasty as it used to when you have to get up in the morning and go to work and take most of your money to take care of a child. You hired yourself for a position that you couldn't handle. That's why it's important to go through the different stages of personal growth and don't leap into something that you can't handle. But we do that in so many ways. It's okay at the stage that you're in to say no sometime. You cannot overburden yourself. You've got to take care of yourself first and let the energy cultivate inside of you. But it takes growth to know that, because if I am empty now, not in the way Miles Monroe said, with your talents and ability die empty, but if I'm empty, I'm exhausted, I'm overextended. Now I'm not good for anybody. If I do so much in love, but now I'm burnt out and have a sickness and I'm dead, how are you going to love these people? How are you going to do for them? Ain't nothing wrong with doing for them, the righteous ones that deserve it. But then again, you got people who don't deserve it in your life. They're only around to get what they can get from you. But you too nice. You got to learn. There's somebody in my circle who learned that recently. They were a giver. They were an enabler. They were always there for the people. And I can't even say half. 99% of these people didn't give a damn about them. And now they've come to the realization that, you know what? To heck with that. To heck with that. While it's good to do for others, yes, it is. But don't treat yourself like you're less. You must keep yourself up. How I look if I have a race car and I'm tuning up everybody else's vehicle except mine. And we get on a racetrack now, we trying to make money, and I'm the last one. I'm not making anything. And it's good to boost people up. Understood. But just don't neglect yourself. In this lifelong journey, as you get up in years, chronological years, you're going to see how long or how good you were taking care of yourself. See? And how much you've learned. Because when you learn the lessons of life, it sharpens your blade. A dull blade can't cut through anything. And if you didn't learn your lessons and you have a dull blade, mediocre challenges will come up that will whip you. Right? Keep your blade sharp. Anything that comes in your way, you'll cut through it. That even tells you in your downtime, you should be sharpening your blade. Easy, nothing rushed. When you see something coming, you don't wait. Look, you have a sword. Let's make this up. And you going out in the jungle, lions and tigers, and you don't wait for the lion to come running after you. Well, let me sharpen my sword. It's supposed to be sharp already. Because you're supposed to have the foresight to know there will be challenges in life. There will be battles in life. There will be things to test you how you really living. And if you ain't really about it, you don't need to be in the jungle. You piddled away your time when you should have been sharpening your sword. Now you're some lion's meal because you pretended to be something that you're not, that you weren't ready for. Number 11, the law of energy. Energy is everything. The energy that you put into your thoughts and actions will determine the outcome. Surround yourself with positive energy and you will attract positive results. Energy is everything. If you're being drained by negative entities in your life that you don't want to hurt their feelings, you always want to take their phone calls, you always want to, no. The positive people I can't get enough of. Call me all the time. Text me all the time. Voice me all the time. Even if I'm busy, I'm going to make time for this because this adds on to me and I'm going to add back on to you. I got all the positive people on speed dial. Just the same way they got me that way. I don't care if it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Phone ring. Well, hold on. Let me just go pee real quick. We gonna talk. Oh, I just woke you up. I'm saying, no. You're valuable to me. We got to keep this energy flowing. Energy doesn't sit down and get how can I stagnant. You ever see stagnant water in nature? No, it's always moving. But if you see stagnant water, all that can grow is mosquitoes. Ain't nothing living in there. So life is movement. Life is energy. You wake up sometime and you may feel down. Sometimes you just don't have it that day all the way like you did yesterday. Don't think anything's wrong with you. Take time with yourself. Maybe your energy is a little lower than what it was before. So what do I always say about that? And I said this when I was going to the gym, not knowing it was a lifelong credo, way of life and way of thinking for me. Oh man, Lance, yesterday, man, you were burning through everything, man. You had so much energy. Man, you did legs yesterday, right? I remember you did the hack squat, you did the leg extension, you were doing a squat, you were doing lunges with 315 pounds. That was my weirdest thing. I did lunges regularly with 315 pounds. I don't know how I did it. I wasn't some big, strong guy, but the way my legs, my butt, my thighs, my hamstrings were, there are guys who I can call and they'll tell you. It was weird. But the next day on a different body part, or groupings of body parts, I didn't feel like 110%. We would just say 100% from the day before. I was 60%. Am I going to damn myself to less of a performance because I'm 60%? Well, maybe I was up late the night before because an ambulance came and took somebody who lived next door to me, and the lights were flashing and the noise kept me up. Maybe I ate something the wrong way and had a case of the runs, which dehydrated me and made me feel weak. And I didn't want to stuff my face thinking that if I eat up all this food, I ate something, but I'm a little weaker now. But I'm 60%. When you have that 60% day or that 25% day, it's just as valuable. You know why? Use 100% of that 60%. It's no shame to have just 60% of what you were the day before. That's what you were the day before. This is what you have now. The best window shopping happens when you have no money in your pocket. When you got money in your pocket overflowing, ain't no window shopping. You're going in the store and buying everything you can. I'm just making this up, but we tend to be that way. We're more efficient when we're broke. Now, I'm not saying be broke, but do your window shopping when you have less and less temptation to spend more than what you have. See, so when you have that 60% day, you make sure to use 100% of it, but you make sure to be more efficient with it because you have less. You don't buy as much stupid stuff at the grocery store when you have less money. You're like, oh, I don't want to go up there and be embarrassed and not have enough money. They turn my card down. Everybody looking at you, and you got to put this, and when it's a lot of stuff, it's real embarrassing. Right? So you want to be right with yourself that way. I do music therapy in the morning when I feel a little less. Just like when you have a crash on your computer and it shows that screen of death. And what is it, F11 or something? Push this button to go back to the earlier time when it was working proper. So go back to times in your mind. Your mind is so strong. You can convince yourself anything in your mind. Other people do, but we got to learn how to do that ourselves and tap into our energy the way other people do. Now, brother, you know you're supposed to get up 6 o'clock in the morning and go to work, and you have a double shift. Hello? Hi, baby. Hey, girl, how you doing? What you doing right now? You know I got to get up early. I got that bad supervisor tomorrow. He's going to be on my back. He don't like me, man, but I got to do 16 hours with this fool. Well, maybe I can take your mind off of it. So what you saying, girl? It's only 1:30 in the morning. But baby, I got to get up 5:30. Well, bring your clothes and you can leave from here. Yeah, you're right. I'll make you go through them 16 hours real fast. See, you got to keep your mind focused with the energy. Go over there after the 16 hours. Wait till the weekend. Energy is everything. The energy you put into your thoughts and actions will determine the outcome. Well, you took your energy that should have been getting yourself up for the battle on the job with that supervisor who you don't get along with. Now she came along and she had her desire, her thought, and it manipulated you now to have a bad day that you fell asleep on the job twice, and that supervisor caught you twice. You had a problem with him before, so that's 3 times and you out. Now here's the phone again. Hello? Hey, girl. What's wrong, baby? Didn't you have a good night with me? Yeah, but now I don't have a job. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. Well, you know rent's due and, well, don't ask me for nothing, baby. I got to pay my bills. You see what I'm saying? Not that it's her responsibility to pay your bills, but keep your energy where you need it to be. Keep it where you need it to be. You know? Wow. Oh, Diane asked how I was. I'm fine, sweetheart. I'm fine. Walking around with a raspy voice because I talk so much. I'm turning into Paul Mooney. I like how he used to wear the little black, little skull cap thingy. It was a little nylon, like we want waves and stuff, but he had his hair off. In memory of him, I'm going to do that, just like Al Sharpton wore his hair like James Brown, but it's not the same proximity with me and Paul Mooney, okay? I'm turning into him more and more. He's my alter ego when I want to say things. 12, the law of purpose. Everyone has a unique purpose in life. Discovering your purpose brings fulfillment and guides your actions in a meaningful direction. Purpose. Even when things may seem to be down, but you know your purpose, nothing can stop you. When you don't know your purpose, you don't get that fulfillment, even when things appear to be down according to others. It may not be you, because you're going to stick it through. You're in the process of still throwing them punches. You got the energy. You're growing. Discovering your purpose brings fulfillment. So even though you may not have the fulfillment of a fat paycheck, you're in school learning something that will eventually pay you. So right now you want to buy some new jeans. You got a couple of jeans that are worn out at the knees and got a couple of holes in it, even though that's the style now. Your shoes are wearing down. You're going through that kind of period of time, but you know your purpose. And it may not be now when you cash in, but eventually you will get it. Continue to live in your purpose. The biggest crime to me is for the Creator to let you know and reveal to you what your purpose is, and you back out of it. How do you think he feels? How do you think she feels? Because it is not a he, she. We're talking like in the world, that rainbow stuff, but it's a combination of those energies. Even when we think of the Creator, we just think it's a male entity. We're male and female. It took 2 to make us. You're just as much connected to your mother as you are your father, whether you knew them or not, or you display certain traits that they have or had. So we have to give or pay homage to both energies. We got no problem saying Mother Earth. You got no problem saying Mother Nature. It looks like that's more of the bosom that we're in our development. The man can come drop the seed and be gone. It's not like you have 4.5 months with the child in your stomach and 4.5 months with the child in the man's stomach. There's roles for the man to do after that and to nurture the baby and the mother. We know that. You all know that. But purpose, once you know your purpose, you will endure so much. Let me tell you something. I had so much in me from young. Like, when am I going to get a chance to get this stuff out? I see things, I feel things. I don't know everything. I'm still learning. I was never stupid enough to think I know everything, number one. Never. But I knew I had some serious seeds of greatness in me, just like you all who are listening and just like you all who are in the chat room. This ain't just me. I'm just not afraid to say it. Just like creation, the creator made a person named Muhammad Ali. Was it January 18th or 17th, 1942? I fought son of listing, and I just turned 22 years old in 1964 when he won the title. His purpose was so many things, and we know he wasn't perfect. But when Black America was going through the foolishness it was from when we first got there, coming up, 50s, but now the 60s, how is it that a handsome, young Black man, physique, face, intelligence, he may not have been educated, but he was intelligent enough beyond those who were educated, where he can debate them, sit and talk with them, and he was a fighter taking blows to the head. And Black America needed that boost in morale to see a Black man say, I am the greatest. And we were getting knocked upside the head and people talking about turn the other cheek. No, I don't want nothing to do with this system. I ain't got no problem with no Viet Cong. They never called me nigger. And if you think you're going to take away my livelihood, take it. If you want to put me in jail, put me in jail. We needed that righteous arrogance to fuel the children, the youngsters on the college campuses who are protesting and demanding rights and forming coalitions that have affected us to this day. This is why in the music industry and the entertainment industry, they're trying to change some of the younger people's minds. They know that people, most of the time in my age group, I'm 61 years old. I got my retirement. I don't want to mess that up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got but so much years here, so I just want to enjoy it. I got a little honey around the corner. Wife, you go to sleep. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm not getting older and getting milk toast like that. The older I get chronologically is the bolder I get, because my foot is in the root of those times. And I could never forget the conversations my parents had, the things I saw, the things they pointed out. It's real to me. Huh? All these Black men, they pushing the white girls on them. They in the playing football or whatever. If whatever you are coming up strong in your Blackness, they gonna try to send something to water you down. Here you are, a budding revolutionary, and some white chick gives you some head, and now it's peace and love. We all love each other because that felt good. Man, forget that. I know a fake revolutionary right now. Got everybody fooled. He always loved white women. I'm willing to bet in my spirit, I feel it right now. He right there back with them. I don't hate nobody. But I can't be a light bulb made to shine light, being dribbled on a basketball court like a basketball. I'll break and I'll be out of my purpose. And it's imagery. If you're not about it, stop pretending to be that. Go on and do what you do. I'm not mad at you. But don't pretend to be like the real thing, because that's not your purpose. If you're that weak, you loving the enemy, And they're using you as a tool for your tool. That's why you present yourself as the well-hung black man. That's all you got to offer. That's all they see you as, buck. Tote me a dip of water, nigga. Huh? There's so much toxicity that's in our DNA. We talk the good game, but when nobody's looking, yeah, we can do this. But I can see right through these people. The test of time. Let's see what you're really all about. Huh? Number 13, the law of gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what you already have. Practicing gratitude daily increases your happiness and attracts more abundance. Ain't that something? I'm going to say it again. Practicing gratitude daily increases your happiness and attracts more abundance. Listen, I got 2 Sony cameras. I got an action camera. I got my phone, which I can use, and I have another vlogging camera. The vlogging camera needs repair, but there's no certified shop that can do it for me. And right now, the house is so jumbled, I can't even find it. I may have to just go buy another one. But right now, it's not on my budget, and it's not a necessity. The other 2 Sonys, there's some little things wrong with it, but they work. But I have gratitude for what I have. That even my action camera, I learned to tweak the settings on a cinematic setting. Because before, with the factory settings, everything was too dark, so I never used it for that. I would just walk with it and whatever. Now, I prefer that now. I don't want to go buy the expensive Sony cameras for the purposes I do of simple face shots and just walking. And I don't need all of that. I don't need a Rolls Royce, a Bentley to go to the corner store. So therefore, the pressure is off of me. But then now abundance is coming in different areas of my life because I'm happy with what I have. When I bought one module for sound that I'm talking through right now, there was a malfunction with it and it was under warranty and it was registered. So I sent it out to the company. And since I'm here in Ghana and I purchased it in New York, it was no problem because it has its own serial number and the electronic receipt in the system. So I sent it to South Africa. And they were so kind by the way we spoke over the phone. I mean, I love conversation. And we had such an exchange that he sent one back to me, brand new. And I didn't know that he was going to send the original back that was fixed. So I ended up with 2. Isn't that something? So when I sent that one out, I'm doing shows every day. I wanted to sound right. So I purchased one, thinking that I have 2 and I can use one to record. And there were times when I flipped it. I was slick with it. There were times when I had each one working and I was on one live show and I was on another live show and bouncing between each one because the one live show was a group of people talking on their own that I would every now and then jump in on. And the other one that I was doing was a gentleman talking and lecturing and I would just be there to basically, right? Oh man, right? So I said, let me pull this off. And I did. So when they sent the other one back new, and now I got 3. Gratitude. I wasn't trying to be greedy. Now, somehow I forgot to even to tell the story right. Somehow this way, I ended up with 4. Super gratitude. There's somebody here in Ghana who has been on the show before. I'm not going to say what I did. I'll say what I did, but I'm not going to say who it was. I don't do things so people then go put it out like that. But since I had 4 and she was coming through, her husband and her were supposed to come through, but he couldn't make it, his job. Mrs. Scurv and her are tight. We're all tight. So me and her hang out sometime on a creator tip. We'll videotape, we'll do different things. We talk, oh, you know this secret? Oh, this is the new thing. Watch out for this. Don't do this. You know, I love that. Well, she swung by the apartment when I was living by the apartment. And I said, I got something for you. And she was so overjoyed. And she could have bought $1 million of those 10 times over because she does really good in her profession. But it was the gesture. And I was so much full of gratitude for what the universe did for me. We got to keep this going. So me even now utilizing the one camera and happy with it. And I don't need any more. But I know in somehow, some way, as I continue to share my gratitude for what little I have with other people, more will come. I'm not even worried about it. And it's not like I need right now. I'm good. I have gratitude. Number 14, the law of release. Letting go of past hurts. Now, we talked about that yesterday, now did we? Grudges and disappointments frees you to move forward. Holding on to pain only anchors you in negativity. I'm not going to tell the story again about when I was beat down by the 11 police officers. But if I held on to that, would I be able to move down to Florida and take a job in law enforcement when I worked in the jail? I brought my love into that situation. Sure, I knew a lot of murderers, rapists, robbers. But I brought my life experience into that and not the bitterness like many others did. Oh, they're inmates. If the food hits the floor, so what? Say, man, you can't do that, man. So I let them know, listen, I'm here for a job. I'm not here to show control here like I don't have any control in my own house. I'm good. You give me respect, I give you respect. I never had a problem. You see what I mean? The energy that you have, the law of release, not holding on to hurt. That's a constant struggle because we all can have things we can get mad about. We think hard enough. There's certain songs that we play that remind us of the hurtful period that we went through. Say, oh, I don't want to hear that song. That reminds me of that time period. I have to acknowledge the dirt and where it is, not my dirt, but the hurt in the dirt in order to be able to scrub it away. I meditate on the hurt to get rid of it. Just like you put your clothes in the washing machine and in the dryer, you meditate on getting those things clean by acknowledging that these things are dirty and need to be clean. But then you let it go. The dirt's gone. Why do you want to hold on to it? Do you not empty your garbage? I knew a lady who was a pack rat who never did. As soon as you get to the front gate, you start smelling the stinking. And don't even go in a house. Like, roaches all over the place. I thought it was some kind of roach family reunion or whatever. The Million Roach March. Oh, just pay them no mind. We're going to get the exterminator up in That's an indication of something wrong. That's an indication that she was holding on to something that had blurred her view of the present, and she didn't realize how infested and how stink her house was. This is how that stuff can just take over your life when you don't release the past hurts. It's a lens that covers your eyes and makes you see the world a certain way. And you won't be able to receive full joy. Number 15, the law of compassion. Compassion for others and yourself is essential for inner peace. It is through understanding and kindness that we build stronger connections and heal from wounds. Once you understand the kindness and you have compassion for others, listen, if somebody disrespects Mrs. Scurv in any way, or any of my sisters here, or my brothers here, and it's on my watch, excuse my French, ain't no compassion, I am whipping their ass. Literally, if it's that type of disrespect. So I'm not some peace and love type dude and I have compassion. He put his hand all up on your butt and your breast and stuff. No, you don't do that. But you give compassion to those who deserve it, even if they're in the gray area. Your display of compassion to them may teach them a lesson. When they know they should have been corrected harshly. But you corrected them, but you gave them another chance and you showed compassion. And it leaves you feeling good because, like we said, you have that inner peace because you could have made it more than what it was. Try to understand where people are coming from. You see, that's what I'm on now. Since I'm in a new country, I'm a black man, but they can sniff that I'm from somewhere else. Like I always say, I'm like an old roach from next door in a new kitchen. The roaches accept me because I'm a roach. When them lights come on, them roaches who know that kitchen so well, they know exactly where to run. And I'm sitting here looking left and right like, wait a second, I'm new here. And I get smashed. You see what I mean? Number 16, the law of authenticity. Being true to yourself is the key to happiness. When you live authentically without conforming to social expectations, you experience a deeper sense of fulfillment. Yes, I know that to be true. I'm going to be true to myself. If I got a pebble in my shoe and we're walking with a group of people, listen, I got a pebble in my shoe. Hold on. I got to take this shoe off. I'm not fronting. I'm not going to be rude, though. I want to communicate properly. And if you're receptive to me, then we good. But I'm not going to go and extend myself and try to front and try to act like when things are not right. I got to be me, and I got to be true to myself. I got to take care of myself. I got to love myself, just like you have to love yourself and be authentic with yourself. And if you are invited somewhere and you really don't want to go, you may dress it up a little bit to say to the person, well, you know, I know sometimes there are women who use the cramps story, I'm getting cramps. Wait a second, did you have cramps last week? And then you tell so-and-so 2 weeks ago. See, we can't do that as men. But you may not just want to say, oh, I can't go, or I don't want to go. You can come up with something. But at the end of the day, you're being authentic to yourself. Don't you know that so many of us live our lives for other people? Of course, you're going to live your life for your child, your children, your mama, your daddy. I mean, we're getting older. We have parents that are getting older and they need help, and that's righteous. But when we talk about society and the expectations of society, why do you have to buy that handbag? Do you really want it? If you really want it, you worked for it, fine, get it. I'm frugal. I'm not cheap. I'm going to get what it is that I need to get. All those years I was working, driving the bus, and I was every paycheck, I buy a little gadget, a little thing, a little this, a little that. I got a lot of stuff. A lot of it's outdated, but still nonetheless. And people see it all at one time. Oh man, you rich. You got that $500 a microphone. You got 3 of those, and then you got that, you got this, you got that. But you didn't see over time me having a vision of being true to myself and what I wanted to do. Instead of going to hang out with these guys who say, come on, man, let's go drinking. I don't drink, number one. Oh, come on, man, let's go to the titty bar. Well, that don't make sense. I got, no, I was going to say I got 2 at home to play. But I'm saying, like, why would I do that? I got to be true to myself. So Lance, man, be for real now. We telling you to come out, man, hang out as men. You'll be having a little fun. You want to stay home and draw? Well, where are those guys now? And I got something to prove for it at that particular day or those weeks when I was drawing those pictures, and I had time to think and grow. Now they got bellies out there here from the alcohol and bad food, bad health, diabetic, liver messed up. That's not fun. At least I'm preserved because I was authentic to me. Because I'm going to take care of myself. We're all going to go. But I'm not rushing it. Dealing in endeavors that takes me off my purpose. Every little thing I do, even when I help someone or do something for someone, it helps me to have more of a peace. So there is no going out of your way when it's righteous for someone who's trying to still come up. It doesn't take away from me. The flame can light 1,000 candles and not diminish its own flame. But you're not going to sit here and light up some newspapers to go burn somebody's house down. But if you lighten somebody up to be motivated, that's a whole different thing. You see what I mean? We said, let's whip it, baby. Let's whip it. Let me see another one by Gifty here. I'm way off. I'm sorry. I'm grabbing the wrong mouse and everything. I'm getting slap happy over here. Lance, you would not have been able to have endured Ghana if you didn't have a purpose in advance of when you went there other than just some exotic adventure. Exactly. And most don't even understand the constant sacrifice. But we're making steps in the right direction, and they're permanent. And the world is big. Doesn't mean I won't live anywhere else. But right now, this is the focus. And let's see what happens behind that. But you got to have the courage to make the move, whether it's for you to make a move, it's not for everybody to come together. They might move somewhere else. They might stay where they are. They might refurbish the house that they're in, right? But whatever it may be, don't be afraid to make the move, make the leap. Right? You and Mrs. Scurv went there with a purpose, and that's why you guys are thriving there in spite of the economic challenges. Yes, it ain't easy. We didn't roll out here with no $500,000. We came out here with some equity. We got to add on to it. It's just what it is. But this sense of purpose has not diminished. And we've been screwed over, but the law of release allows us to let go of past hurts. Ain't that something? And still show compassion and still be authentic to ourselves. See, all of these laws we should be doing. We might not know them all verbatim, but when you live life to a certain point, automatically you look to, yeah, I've been doing that. Yeah. I never knew what the name was, but yeah, this is how I am. Your blade is sharpened. Number 17, the law of attraction. Like attracts like. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs draw experiences into your life that reflect them. Focus on what you want, not what you fear. Exactly. You think when that van that Chocho took me 15 miles down the dark road, in the dark fog, the clouds, I couldn't see anything except when a car went by and the headlights were swallowed up in the clouds. Look, we in the mountains, y'all. The clouds laid out on the land and you can't see anything. I looked out the other night, last night, on the balcony and couldn't see the railing on the balcony. Just a few feet away. So I focused on what I wanted, to get home, not what I feared. All these exotic sounding animals, mosquitoes trying to get me. Luckily, I had mosquito repellent. It's a healthy kind. It's not a chemicalized kind. I rubbed it all over my head, my face, my ears. Wasn't nothing buzzing by my ears. Flies were trying to buzz by. What? Legs tired. I kept on swinging. The thought crossed my mind, well, throw the groceries down that you have. They're weighing you down. Try to see if you can come back later on. Those bad boys would have been gone. But I never knew, and I admitted, such fear. Fear. And that's not me to be fearful, but it was a fear way out there. 15 miles on a mountain range. Past this particular area what I'm in, you have a sprinkling of little villages way off the road. You ain't seen them on that road, though. And I had to walk forward to a dark hole, winding road, ascending and descending, stepping down off the road by mistake because you can't see where the edge was. There wasn't no guardrails. So I had to face myself. And like I was speaking to someone last night, and I said, I saw some of the trees that were so huge, and I felt their energy. I felt their presence. They were like, it was like they were almost big monsters standing over me. I'm not a kid. But guess what? When I move about now, I dealt with that type of fear. It's gone. I don't want to walk down that road no more. It's practical. Something can happen. Something can bite me. Snakes and cobras and king cobras. I'm not dumb. But it forced me to deal with myself, to logically think, and I came through that. It wasn't just a dark road. Look, there are places in New York City, dark, abandoned streets with no street lights, busted out for blocks and blocks. This was different. Some people would say, man, that experience made me see God. The next one, the law of courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. Yeah, like we just told you about the road. Bold actions lead to growth and create opportunities that would otherwise remain unseen. At this point in my life, I would say I'm very courageous. It doesn't mean that you don't feel fear, but you move forward. These people walk around, man, I ain't got no fear. You may not be walking around as a 100% container of fear, but it will hit you. You're human, man. You get that phone call, the old phone that you had in the living room back in the day. See, now you'll get phone calls 3 a.m, but folks don't fear waking you up because your ring is probably off. But when you had that big black phone, nobody had no phone in their room. It was in the living room. That big with the heavy handset. You could knock somebody out with that. 3 o'clock in the morning. Loud. Oh God. Please, Lord. I hope nothing happened bad. And chances are it was, because you wouldn't call anybody's house 3 o'clock in the morning. Did you hear what happened? Oh, what happened? See? Now you all messed up. Now the whole family hears that because the phone woke them up. Now they're running into the living room, everybody crying. But even then, you have to be able to move forward when you feel that sting. That's why I always refer to boxing. You see, we sitting home in a living room on a couch, eating, drinking, watching a boxing match. These dudes' eyes are swollen up, the nose already broken, and they still getting punched in the face. Lip, or you ever like hit your lip or the teeth cut it? These guys are enduring pain in front of people, not just in the arena, but all over the world pay-per-view. And it was a free fight. It's embarrassing. I saw a boxing match back in the 70s. Guy had on white trunks. And literally, the opponent beat the feces out of him. Running down his leg. Referee had to come and get a mop. Mop this up. Nobody wants to fall in that. And you know what? The dude won the fight. He won the fight. Made reference to it too. Yeah, I was getting the SHIT beaten out of me, but I won. So even when you're embarrassed, even when you're knocked down, even when you're having the feces beat out of you, has the decision of the fight been rendered yet? You're still in the fight. The law of courage. To know the outcome is not finalized. We have people who may have a diagnosis of cancer. Get a second opinion, get a third opinion. Oftentimes that first diagnosis was wrong, but if you gave up and gave into that, and said, just give me the medication, just give me the operation, whatever, it was no reason to operate. That doesn't mean you have to be walking around looking for a challenge unnecessarily, but have enough inside you that when it visits you, okay, this is my time, it's uncomfortable, I don't like it, I'm going to have to go through a lot, I'm going to have to sacrifice, but you know what? I'm going to have some courage because the Creator built me for this, and I know, although I've never been through anything like this before in my life, if it's in front of me, it's for me to grow. I'm going to use this to grow. This is not going to whip me. I got more life to live, and one day this is going to be a memory. These are things I tell myself. These are things I tell myself. Number 18, number 19, the law of humility. Humility allows you to learn from every experience, acknowledging that you do not have all the answers. Pride keeps you stuck, and humility opens the door to wisdom. You don't know everything. You're willing to say that, but you're willing to listen to someone else. You're willing to learn, or even go through it and learn. And realize that possibly sometimes we make decisions that are not the best. But we still have to roll with it and admit it to ourselves and say, you know what? I'm not going to handle the situation the same way I did. I'm going to do it different because before it wasn't the best. I admit that. There's certain things in our conversations and decisions that I was more enthusiastic over. And Mrs. Scurv said, well, we need to hold back on that. I didn't override her, but I was so gung-ho with it. She said, okay, we'll do that. And then at the end of the day, you do see, Lance, it would have been better to wait for this thing or wait for that. I'm like, you know what? Humility kicks in. No false pride. No. It was the right thing. No, sweetheart, you're right. So now with humility, when I feel that same feeling, I'll go to her and say, what do you think about this? Because anything I do, I'm going to consult with her. I'm going to consult with all those in my tiny inner circle. There's someone that I know very well and love very much that I call Customato. And I don't make a move without her either. Because she has the wisdom and knows my wiring. And I'd be a fool to go off and try to act like, well, I got this now. No, humility. And when you respect and love somebody that you know loves you and wants the best for you, when they say, This is not, I don't think so. No, this is not right. You submit to it immediately and don't even question it, and you'll be all right. When God sends somebody to you in your life like that, if not one or two or three, whatever, that is a blessing. Because lots of times when we were out on our own in our own decision-making process, fueled by all different types of emotions or different types of people who wanted us to crash and burn. Well, yeah, you work at McDonald's, man, but go ahead, man. You know, that person want to give you that Lamborghini, keep it, man. Keep it. Go ahead and keep it. Well, then he ain't going to be able to afford that maintenance. The other person was saying, well, they're going to give it to you, and they don't mind if you sell it. No, keep it. And the person with the right mind says, listen, you can sell it a little reduced price, get rid of it, get the money, get yourself something else, and you have enough money to purchase a home cash. Humility, right? The law of reciprocity. The energy and actions you put into the world come back to you. Right back to you. When you give, you will receive in turn, though not always from the same source or at the same time. You ever find yourself in a situation that it seems like there's no way out? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it comes to you and you're like, oh man, there must be a God or something. There's no way. There was no way out of this situation. Not that you did anything bad, but you just knew you was going to crash into that wall. You going too fast and the wall's coming up. Brakes didn't work. The wall fell down. How did this happen? Because of what you did before. That energy's coming back. That's why you have to keep on investing in good people, investing in motivating people, investing in lifting people up when they're down. Not because you're just selfish. You go, well, I'll get it back anyway. Like, you know, years ago when Oprah was giving all those cars on the show to them white women. And there was some women in Chicago and just all over who couldn't hardly feed their kids. Oprah's such a wonderful person. Oh. You look at them like, this is a tax write-off. And the car company is getting advertisement. We have it worked out some kind of way, and we all benefit on a corporate level. And they think just because she's so nice. I know people, I do know several multimillionaires that I know from way back in the day. They would never do something for me and do a write-off. I would never ask them. Because they still have that thing going on in them. Yeah, man, you was that dude years ago that got the muscles, but look at me, I made it now and you ain't make it. But how you know that I look at success the same way you do? You see what I mean? But I never ask, like, I'm not an envious person or covet nothing or whatever. But I know the law of reciprocity is in effect. And as long as I try and do for myself and others the right thing, I'll be all right. Even when it doesn't arrive right away. You know, the mailman in the hood is the most protected man ever. Especially when that check is supposed to come. Everybody looking out their window. Mailman come yet? Yeah, I got mine. Well, where'd he go? He went around the corner. Oh, there you go. Good. You better not knock down the mailman, beat him up, make him have to go to the hospital. He got some checks to pass out. The law of reciprocity is like that mailman, but it's no hood we're talking about. It will eventually come back to you and always when you need. The law of self-mastery. Mastering your emotions, thoughts, and impulses gives you control over your life. The ability to remain calm and focused, even in difficult situations, leads to wise decisions. Things could have got out of hand in many situations that we're in. But because we mastered ourselves, we conquered the potential for it to become a disaster. There are times in my life when I was younger Somebody might have smacked me in the face in school, and I went and smacked them back and beat them up, and I got in trouble because the teacher came and saw me beating them up. But they started it. So I'll take the smack. Because what will it be if I was to, like many I've seen, there's one case in the jail I worked in where this guy was there for something minor. Driving drunk is not something minor, but he didn't murder somebody. And you could, really, right? But he was there for that in a suspended license. He got into a fight. In this particular area of the jail, it was light sentences. It was a less of a custody level, because these guys would be out in a few weeks, a month or two, depending. This one guy got into a fight with another guy, hit the guy hit his head on the ground. He didn't die, but he was paralyzed in parts of his body. Well, guess what, buddy? You're not getting out. You went in there for a light charge. Now you have all these charges put on you. And now you have another case. I bet you wish you had some self-mastery then. Things can go south so fast in our lives. You see road rage? Somebody gives you the finger, let them go. Listen, somebody might spit on your vehicle driving by. Let them go. What you gonna do? They might have a gun and you don't. They shoot you and you're dead now. Doesn't mean you're weak, but save the aggression when you need it, like defending yourself, getting yourself out of a situation, saving somebody's life. There are people out here looking to do things. And if you're a hothead, you're going to find yourself caught up in things. See, I don't know if you could hear that animal back there. I don't think so, but every night they're like, I'm trying to figure out what the heck kind of animal was that. I got to record. Look, I'm going to put a recorder out there in the daytime when it's starting to get dark and run inside and play it for you. It doesn't sound like any animal I've known on this earth. I don't know what that is. Oh, I was looking at the chat room for a second. The law of clarity. Clarity of mind and purpose enables you to navigate life's complexities with ease. Confusion and indecision will only lead you astray. I don't like indecision. Clarity of mind. I woke up. I knew I had to go down into the city. I knew exactly what I had to pick up and nothing more. And I got through the day the way I had to. Down to the T. Clarity of mind and purpose enables you to navigate life's complexities. If you out there and don't know what it is that you need to do, the indecisiveness confuses you and you waste a lot of time. I don't make a move until I know what I'm going to do. My foot doesn't touch the ground, the floor, out of my bed until I know the general direction. Because early on, it's still not fuzzy, but I'm allowing a little leeway for the voice to correct me, the inner voice. And I listen out for it. Not with my ears, but it comes to me on the inside. Or it may come to me through Customato or Mrs. Scurv or you see? Now, Customato was the name of Mike Tyson's trainer. We're not talking about that one. I can't channel some dead man's energy. No, I can't do that. But that's what it is. If you go out in the world and you don't know what you're doing. I remember back in the day when you had to go out on a Monday morning and go fill out an application for a job. If you didn't target what it was that you wanted to do or research where, you had guys that got up, they got dressed nice and shirt and tie. Where you going? I'm going out to find a job, man. What kind of job you looking for? I don't know. See, they might even get one. But know what it is that you're about. Have clarity of mind in everything that you do. If not, confusion and indecision will only lead you astray. And I don't like that. If I can't be effective, if your aggression cannot be effective, you're wasting time. In boxing, you get scored for the effective aggression, not for the 50 million punches that you threw and it didn't land. Now you all worn out. Man, I threw about 1,000 punches in that fight, but you landed 2, man. And the other guy threw 50 and landed 48. He was more efficient. You can't get mad. How efficient are we in our lives? Are we wasting energy? Are we going out there burning it 100%, but only getting 2% results? You see a cat, you can learn a lot from a cat. You corner a cat and you messing with him or whatever, or some animals messing with him. He's smaller than the dog. Minimum movement, maximum scratch. All of a sudden, you see the marks of the claws, and all of a sudden, the blood starts coming out. They didn't do but one quick move. Dog is jumping all over the place. Be efficient. Budget your aggressions and your energy, but behind all of that, have clarity of mind. Number 23, the law of abundance. There is enough for everyone in the universe, no matter what Bill Gates says. Scarcity is a mindset that limits your potential. By embracing abundance, you open yourself to unlimited possibilities. See, they're telling us that the earth is losing its resources. We're overpopulated. You can put everybody on the planet on the motherland, as big as it is, and it's bigger than what they show on the map. And your neighbor would be so far away you can't see them. See, so they push this narrative to put fear in your heart. There is enough for everyone. The Creator made it that way. You may have a certain faction of people that want to hog everything up for themselves and keep you from having peace of mind. But that's a whole different story. You see? Oh, my phone just made a noise. It's at 100%. Now, I think I started up the show and it was at, what, 53%? So when you go out into the world in your thoughts, what's for you is for you, and you will get abundance. Sometimes you have to go through lean times, understood. Sometimes there's a lesson in that. I'm very frugal. I can stretch a little bit of money and not complain. I can eat like a Spartan even now. I ain't got to get pizza 3 times a week. I ain't have to go get steak dinners twice a week. If I don't have that food, I'm going to die. No, if you don't get nutrition in your body, you're going to die. Discipline. Number 24, this is a hard one for many people, the law of forgiveness. Forgiving others frees you from the burden of resentment. Forgiveness does not mean excusing harmful behavior, but releasing its hold over you. Well, there ain't no thing called the law of forgetting. Okay, I'll forgive you, but I'm not going to give you a second chance to do what you did before, whatever that may be, if it's something that vile and destructive. See? But it will have a hold on you if you can't let it go. I'm not going to let you have that much power over me. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let that go. I'm throwing it all out. I'm not hating you, because that means you occupy a space in my psyche and in my heart where now I can't fill up. If I got 20% of resentment towards you because of something you did to me that was definitely wrong, then I can only be full of 80% joy. I want 100% joy. I want my cup to runneth over. You see? And people go on for years and years and years. Have you ever seen somebody mad at somebody that died 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Yeah, I can't stand him. This person, don't, like the old folks used to say, they don't win on the glory. You are hating on them, mad at them. They don't know nothing about what they did, pretty much. And you sitting there holding on to this thing. I know dudes who are mad at girlfriends that broke up with them from 40 years ago, and they mad at the people that kind of pulled the girl away from him. Yeah, and they family members was making them hang out, and that's how she met that other dude. And half of them passed away. And here you are in 2024, mad at them. How do they say it? Get a grip. Unbelievable. Drum roll, please. I should have had a drum roll recorded into my module. I gotta get me some more sound effects up in this bad boy. Make it nice, make it fine. Number 25, the law of faith. Faith in yourself, others, and the universe provides the foundation for perseverance and hope. Even in the darkest times, faith lights the way forward. I see there are a lot of people who hate that word. I know people who actually hate that word. Don't be talking about no faith. I gotta know. Well, having faith in your heart opens the door to you knowing when the thing happens good for you. If you have no faith, you cut the answer away. Then there's certain situations where you're not trying to have faith. Now, come on, Lance. What you mean by that? I'm not trying to have faith that I work 2 weeks and on that next Friday, I have faith that I'm going to get that check. No, I know I'm going to get it because I work for it. But still, you do have faith. Things can happen and you get paid late. But you have faith. Even those who claim they don't have it, when you walk out in the street, you have faith that you're not going to get run over by a vehicle. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't cross the street now, would you? That goes with everything else. See? That's the way these laws work. These laws are not simply suggestions, but are fundamental truths that shape the human experience. They transcend race, culture, and background, applying to every individual equally. Acknowledging and embracing these laws empower you to take control of your life and navigate the challenges you face with confidence and grace. As we journey through life, we will undoubtedly encounter obstacles, pain, and discomfort. However, it is through these experiences that we learn the most valuable lessons. The true measure of success is not where we started, but the direction we choose to take, the decisions we make, and the growth we achieved along the way. What I'm going to do right now is go back, way back. No, I'm just playing. I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to speak, because I've had enough shows where I forgot to do so. People said, man, you didn't do it. I wanted to say something. So y'all don't have to come. You can. You know, maybe you might be cuddled up and don't want to talk or whatever. It's cool, but I'm going to give you the opportunity if you want to before I sign off. Yeah, I love all of these. And this is on Lancescurv.com, verbatim. So you can look at all the laws that are there. Matter of fact, let me go like I did before. And I can't do it on this one computer, but I can do it on this other one. And that'll give me time to let anybody come in if they want to say anything. And that's how it works. Give me a time, give me a second to get to this particular chat room on this other computer. I have it set up on this one, but not on the one that I'm kind of manipulating right now. So the sound is good, right? It's not too low, because I know sometimes I'll get lower, get louder, anything, you know? Let me see. Okay. Where's the link? Okay, I'll give the link to the actual blog. And remember, when you leave your words and comments on the Lancescurv.com blog, they will be there. There's sometimes YouTube will remove your comments for no reason, and they're lost. And they can lose a whole string of comments, especially if it's something that the powers that be, the trained AI, because right now we're not even battling a human being who may be of a different ideology, who doesn't like what you said. AI has certain things programmed to automatically take you down, like a police robot. You can't negotiate with that. You know what I mean? There's no negotiation with that. You know, it's not human. Okay, so I'm going to drop this link and I'll pin it up top. Let me put more of a space in between here. Okay, there it is. Come on now. Come on. Obey yourself now. Okay. Let's put a little space here. I think it'll be all right. Okay, there it is. Now, we drop it in so that the blog is forever connected to this particular YouTube upload. So those in the future who see this as just a regular video and didn't experience the chat room, they can still see it. And I'm going to pin it also to the top. And that link brings you to the blog. And I will always respond on the blog when you make a comment on the blog, whether I agree with it or not. But anyway, let me just see here. I saw my own comment. I said, who wrote all that? Yeah. But anyway, just got a message here. I'll check that out later on. You know, anybody who sends me stuff on Messenger, for some reason, Facebook Messenger has a bipolar relationship with me. It works sometime and it doesn't. Then I have to take the app out. And also, you know, I'm on all social media platforms, but when you send a message, try to send it to the email, lance@lancescurv.com, or what else? Or text it to me or something like that, right? But if you send me something on Instagram, then turn around and send me something on Facebook, then turn around and send me something on Messenger. It's all over the place. And sometimes I will get, you know, WhatsApp is better for me. If you're on WhatsApp, especially, let me just say it again, you need to be inside the WhatsApp Lancescurv group room. It's not, nobody will see you. Nobody will see your number. It's not a group where you talk. It's just, you will see everything that I post up. You can like it, you can thumbs it up, whatever. But okay, where is this? Okay, the WhatsApp channel. Just like, you know, I don't know if anybody knows about it or not, but now, oh God, let me open this thing up. Gotta open the link up. And then we'll do. But like CNN and sports, they have channels on WhatsApp that you can subscribe to. And all they do is push out the news or push out the information in that particular area. And you keep up with it. Well, that's the same way it works with me. Okay, so let me put it here. I'm not going to be able to pin it. I can put it there. I think I have like 35 members. There should be much more than that. And again, I'll put little philosophical sayings, or even if I don't have a show, I'll be like, listen, tonight I won't be able to do it because this came up, whatever. It's just a different way for those who are on WhatsApp to keep up. I also have a Telegram channel also on the site. I'm going to do some graphics and I'll set up all those different things if you prefer Telegram. And whatever I put on Telegram or WhatsApp group, I put it on Telegram. Telegram is, I think, is a little superior, but I'm used to WhatsApp. Okay, there it is. That's the WhatsApp channel. So all the shows, even sometime when I don't catch to put the show up right away before the show, you ain't gonna miss nothing, right? I'm really relaxed. I'm like, you ain't gonna miss nothing. But that's what it is, and I'm gonna sign off. And as usual, it's always been a pleasure. I will play the full Lewis X, aka Farrakhan song at the end, like I used to. You know, folks like, I never heard that before. Play the whole thing. You know, so I'm gonna do that as we wind out. But just want to say once again, much love to you all. Lancescurv out. Good night, everybody. And if I say one name, I got to say everybody's name, but I see everybody who's here, and we've been vibing. And wow, another 3-hour show. Time flies when you're having fun. 2 hours, 59 seconds, and 58 minutes, which boom, here we are, 3 hours. Appropriate time to make the exit. I hope this is the right button I'm pushing. Let's see. But anyway, much love to you all. We will be back tomorrow. It will be a nice topic, something, whatever. It's always going to be good because I'm going to go in with surgical precision all the time and leave no stone unturned and toil and put in the work. This ain't no little 10-minute clickbait. This is how we live. This is how we think. And for you all to hang to the end of the show like this, it's the biggest compliment. And do know I do this out of love and nothing more. And I love you all righteously, whether I saw your face, know your real name or not. It's an energy thing. And we shared a lot of righteous energy tonight. And I thank you so much. And I'm so fired up, just like last night. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to sleep, but I will. I'll be like the fifth dimension. Last night, I couldn't get to sleep at all. Telling my age. Listen, y'all. You all have a good rest of your evening, and we'll see each other tomorrow. God willing. Peace.
John Hawkins showed up in our country, telling us of a land filled with luxury. He said, black man, follow me to America. There you'll find more gold for your labor. Our foreparents were tricked onto his boat. Since that time we've been wrestling with the gold. We landed here in Jamestown, Virginia, 400 years to suffer. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is black man hell. When the slave master wanted to have some sport, he would heap on our parents' cruelties of the worst sort, burn them at stake, hang them on trees. His ears were deaf to our parents' pleas. Though you were pregnant black woman, you pull the plow like a horse, like a dog, even a cow. He filled your womb with his wicked seed. His half-white children you were made to breed. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is a black man hell. So-called Negro, open up your eyes. Black man everywhere is on the rise. He has kicked the white man out of Asia, and he's going fast out of Africa with every ounce of strength and breath. His cry is, give us liberty or give us death. The whole black world has their eyes on you to see what the so-called Negro is going to do. So my friend, it's easy to tell. Our unity will give the white man hell. God made a promise to Abraham. His seed would be a stranger in a foreign land. They would suffer and be afflicted 400 years, but he would come, wipe away their tears. Our God and Savior, Allah has come. He has declared the white man's day is done. He has given us a divine messenger, one prophesied to come. His name is Elijah. We now can stand up the whole world to tell. Our God has come to give us heaven and take the devil into hell. Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition, stripped of our names, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion? Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we're living, for us there's nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research and tells us plainly. Before the white man gained entry to the East, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous beast, eating juniper roots and eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then, following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia and Africa. From China he took silk and gunpowder. From India he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast he took barrels of oil untold. Raping, robbing, and murdering everything in his path. The whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So my friend, it's not hard to tell. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. Before we came to America, we were living in the East. By the Nile River, we were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice,
and equality. We wore silken robes and slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and firewater. With tricks and lies he stole America. The original owner of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man, so he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the world's most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery, to sell a man as merchandise. On his body put a price. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is black man hell.